Welcome to the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Stop number 1 on the road to Omaha, Louisville, Kentucky. A great matchup this weekend between the number 10 national seed East Carolina Pirates and the number 7 national seed Louisville Cardinals. We got started last weekend with 64 teams. We follow it up this weekend. 8 sites, 8 best-of-3 series trying to get to the College World Series that begins next Saturday. We look at the left side of the bracket for the College World Series. Vanderbilt and Duke, our game here between Louisville, East Carolina, Mississippi State, Stanford, and North Carolina, Auburn gets started tomorrow. Good Friday afternoon, and welcome to Louisville, Kentucky for a great series alongside former Alabama Crimson Tide star and 8-year big leaguer Lance Cormier. I'm Richard Cross. We got started, Lance, last week, and at one point it felt like chaos all over the place. Things settled down. 12 of the 16 national seeds advanced to Super Regionals. It's been a great tournament so far.
Yeah, especially chaos for these two teams who both lost in their own regional, had to fight all the way back through the elimination games, but they ended up where they wanted to be in the Super Regional. So I look for this to be a good weekend.
It certainly has been a busy week so far in the baseball world. The Major League Baseball draft began on Monday. Both of these two teams well represented. 7 Pirates, 8 Louisville Cardinals in the draft, including Logan Wyatt, who was drafted in the 2nd round by the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, Logan Wyatt goes 51st overall, and that's something that, you know, you're living a childhood dream. You get drafted. That's usually what most guys want to play for, to play in the big league. So now he realizes that's a reality. I can, be able to move on from that. So the pressure is off. Hey, it's happened. Now I can just go out and play baseball.
There's a lot to like about the Louisville Regional, maybe nothing more than these 2 pitchers. What a great matchup. A couple of lefties, both have won 11 games this year.
And you're talking lefties. We're talking dominant lefties. These are true aces, the guys at the top of the rotation that you want. I mean, look at the punch-outs. 140 for Jake Agnos, 156 for Reed Detmers. I mean, this is a guy, Agnos got picked in the 4th round. Detmers is a future first-rounder. It's going to be an exciting matchup for the pitching side.
Should be a lot of fun. A great matchup this weekend. East Carolina and Louisville. It's game 1 on the road to Omaha from Louisville, Kentucky.
The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? And in part by the $5 Grande Nachos Box. Only at Taco Bell.
All matchup as both teams hope to advance to the Super Regionals. It's up in the jet stream and a gunner.
This one could get away from Campbell in a hurry if they're not careful.
And this one is ripped. They strike and they strike again. The Pirates, 22 runs today as they advance and win the Greenville Regional.
East Carolina lost to Quinnipiac in game 1, had to battle through the losers bracket, won 4 games in 3 days. The East Carolina Pirates are making their 30th all-time NCAA postseason appearance, but they're still looking for that first elusive trip to the College World Series. The batting order for Cliff Godwin's East Carolina Pirates, well, they will lead off with Bryant Packer. He's a good one at the top of the order, hitting .373. Burleson with 9 home runs, Washer with 17, and Spencer Brickhouse with 13 in the middle of the order. Bryant Packard leading things off, and he has been good as of late. Drafted in the 5th round. He'll face Reed Detmers to start the ball game. We'll tell you about Detmers in just a moment. Bryant Packard, tough 6 weeks or so. He is dealing with a tough situation at home. His mother, Cherry, was diagnosed in mid-April with stage 3 breast cancer. Packard goes after the first pitch and lifts it into left field. So it's a fly out to left to start the ball game. Bryant Packard's mom, Cherry, is watching from the hospital today. Things are going well. Chemotherapy earlier today. She's got a 5-month regimen of chemotherapy, and then we'll have surgery as she continues to fight back. Bryant told us that his mom was the most inspirational person in his life, and he was certainly excited that she was going to be able to watch today from home. Packard goes after the first pitch that he sees, and then Turner Brown takes for ball 1. Senior from Whiteville, North Carolina. Shortstop for the Pirates. Hitting an even .300 on the season. a strike to Turner Brown. Game one of the Louisville Super Regional just underway. Glad to have you along on this Friday afternoon. One of 8 sites nationally. 2 teams playing best-of-3 series, trying to get to the College World Series in Omaha. Richard Cross, Lance Cormier with you. Crowd continuing to grow here at Jim Patterson Stadium in Louisville. They are expecting a big crowd. All the grandstand seats sold out. And Detmer's a pitch away. Getting 2 outs here early. First base side. Logan Wyatt can't make the catch. Reached out, tried to pull it back. Extends the at bat for Turner Brown.
They got a little crosswind going. Looks like on the left field it's blowing one way, on right field it's blowing the other, so it's just swirling around, and that's what you see right there. Wyatt like, I thought I had that ball. I can promise you hitters don't want to be in a 1-2 count against Reed Detmers. 84 at bats, 7 hits, hitting .083 in a 1-2 count. That's an advantage count. He is putting guys away.
Reed Detmers 156 strikeouts on the season. Make it 157. Reed Detmers making his 17th start of the year. The sophomore from Chatham, Illinois. Primarily a midweek guy a week ago. Rolls into the rotation. He is the unquestioned ace of this staff.
Absolutely. Fastball 91 to 94. Big, powerful breaking ball. High spin rate, 75 miles an hour. Really sharp. Look at that. 178 or 176 opponent batting average. Guys just don't get hits off of him.
First pitch strike to Alec Burleson. Burleson, right fielder. You will see him on the mound this weekend as well. The sophomore from Denver, North Carolina. One of the top 2-way players in the entire country. It just misses. Burleson, first team all AAC outfielder and second team as a utility player.
Nice pitch by Detmers. Got to establish the inside part of the plate. Fastball 93. Most hitters really don't want that ball in on their hands. You can just see the way Burleson react. He didn't like it in there.
The 2-1. Outside 3-1. Burleson only 14 walks on the year. Marcus Patillo, our home plate umpire. Kevin Sweeney at first base. Steve Mattingly at second. And Mark Winters at third base. This one's fouled away. Full count now to Burleson. Reed Detmers trying to have a 1-2-3 top of the first. He is the ACC pitcher of the year. Took the loss to Illinois State in regional play. Struck out 11 over 7 innings. It was just the 4th loss of the year for Reed Detmers. Fans come to life for the first time today. Full count pitch coming from Detmers to Burleson. This one's sliding into left center field. A base hit. Moving over, Snyder cuts it off. Burleson trying to turn it into 2. The throw off line, and Alec Burleson a 2-out double. Alec Burleson pitch out over the plate, drives it the opposite way.
Yeah, there's a nice piece of hitting right there. That's a 3-2 pitch, just trusting the fastball, not trying to do too much. But I love the hustle out of the box. Alec Burleson knowing, hey, 2 outs, got to get in the scoring position. Off the bat, I didn't think he'd have a shot, but sure enough, he does. The throw's off mark. You know, you got to love aggressive base running. You got to make the defense make that throw, and if they don't make it, man, you're in there.
So East Carolina in a spot that they've had a lot of success with this season. 37% of the runs that the Pirates have scored this season have come with 2 outs. And this may be the hottest guy in the country. Jake Washer at the plate right now for East Carolina. Most outstanding player of the Greenville Regional last weekend. Seven home runs in 8 postseason games for Jake Washer.
My man is hot. You mentioned the 2 outs. Hitting 291 as a team with 2 outs. I mean, that's just showing you, hey, doesn't matter what it is. We're still going to give you some quality at bats throughout the lineup. A lot of times teams will start to shut it down with 2 outs, especially with nobody on.
Ball and a strike to Jake Washer.
I just love the aggressive approach by the Pirates already. I mean, you have a dominant pitcher on the mound, an ace that's going to come right at you. You know the strikeout numbers. Everybody knows that, but he's coming out with a fastball, and they are attacking, and that's just the MO of the Pirates. They like to hunt the fastball.
How about of those 7 home runs that Washer's hit in the postseason? 4 of them has been opposite field shots.
A lot of that tells you when a guy is locked in. That's how that tells you when a guy's locked in, knowing he lets that ball travel deep, trust his power. When you got guys that with that kind of power, it doesn't matter. You don't have to pull the ball. Let the ball travel. Go with it.
Two balls and a strike to Jake Washer. Wind blowing in here at Jim Patterson Stadium. Now 3-1. So back-to-back hitters. Reed Detmers has gone 3-1 on.
You want to talk about respect. 2-1 breaking ball right there. I know you got a good breaking ball, but the fastball is good too. And you know, if you're going to throw a 2-1 breaking ball, that's a lot of respect on this hitter.
East Carolina went 20-4 this year in the American Athletic Conference. Won the regular season by a lot. And there's a walk to Jake Washer. So now 2 base runners with 2 outs, top of the first.
Not a bad walk, especially falling behind in that 3. If you're trying to make your pitch 2-1 with that breaking ball, hoping you get a good swing on it. If he doesn't, then you have a base open, but it doesn't get any easier with Spencer Brickhouse coming up.
And you go back-to-back 4 and 5 in the lineup for ECU. 30 home runs, 17 for Washer, 13 for Spencer Brickhouse. Brickhouse lines it the opposite way. Snyder going back. He'll settle shy of the track, make the catch. East Carolina strands a couple. Scoreless as we go to the bottom of the first.
Game 7, a lot of pressure on these young men. Winner take all, loser goes home. Illinois State has scored 2 here in the 9th, and we're even at 3. Man, it just doesn't get any better than this. Alex Pinellas back up the middle, base hit, and Louisville is going to the Super Regional.
Louisville found themselves in a hole. They won game 1, lost game 2, and then won 3 in a row to advance to another Super Regional. It's a good offense for Louisville. Maybe not as dominant as you've seen in recent years, but a bunch of guys up and down the lineup that can really swing the bat. Lucas Dunn hitting over 300. Logan Wyatt, who we talked about just a moment ago, 2nd-round draft pick, and then Tyler Fitzgerald at the top of the order with 7 home runs. Alex Pinellas is the guy that jumps out, the freshman who has emerged as a 3rd baseman and is now a freshman All-American. Lucas Dunn steps in, first hitter for Louisville. Louisville in the All Blacks. The rare Florida player on this Louisville roster. He's from Panama City Beach. All of a strike to Lucas Dunn.
A lot can be learned from the first inning, just how the nerves, the anxiety, all that is out there. Detmers did a nice job. A couple guys on base, but he's able to make the pitch and get out of it. How will Jake Agnos deal with it?
He gets ahead of Lucas Dunn early. A ball and 2 strikes. Fouled away, and we'll do it again. Lucas Dunn starting his 43rd game of the year. He's played now in 51 games, but missed a big part of the middle of the season. Most of the month of March. Was the starting 2nd baseman. Broke his finger in pregame drills prior to a midweek game against Ole Miss back in March. when he came back, there had been some moves and guys were swinging it well. Primarily Alex Binelas, who went to third base. Levy went to second base to fill in for Lucas Dunn, and when he came back, there was no spot on the infield for him. So Dan McDonald said, well, I need you to go play in the outfield, and it's worked out quite well.
Well, if you can swing the bat, they're going to find a way to put you in the field, and that's what you see. And like you said, like an injury opened up a door for somebody else, but it still kept him in the lineup, and it basically made their lineup even better when Binelas all of a sudden shows up and shows out.
Justin Levy has played a good second base. Alex Binelas has played a great third base and has swung it exceptionally well. And Lucas Dunn, who had played some outfield as a freshman, has been really good. Probably the best outfielder they've got out in center, but he strikes out to start the ball game, and that's what Jake Agnos does. The junior from Haymarket, Virginia, says he pitches with a chip on his shoulder because he's a small guy, and that's always been held against him.
Yeah, I mean, look at the fastball, 92 to 95. We've already seen a 93. Powerful curveball, changeup every now and then. Man, that bottom thing for me, 085 with runners in scoring position just shows you a guy when they get runners on, he gets even tougher. But we will see a lot of swings and misses today. There's no doubt about it.
A couple of pitchers of the year going. Louisville with Detmers, the ACC pitcher of the year. Jake Agnos, the AAC pitcher of the year. And boy, is he working ahead early. Logan Wyatt quickly in a hole, 0-2.
Well, how about that? 95, top of his zone. Said, Wyatt, it doesn't matter to me. I'm coming right at you, man. We're going to see power versus power.
Jake Agnos on Team USA last summer, the collegiate baseball national team. They shut him down in the fall after a big season a year ago, a heavy load during the summer. Decided not to pitch Agnos in the fall, came back and has had a great spring for East Carolina.
Well, look at it. Wyatt's already shown a couple times in this at bat that he's going to chase up in the zone. And with a fastball like Agnos, I mean, you got to just continue to go up there. No way you can get hurt. You keep that ball right above the letters, right at that Louisville across his chest, and he's shown he's going to swing at it.
It's a matchup that you can see in the big leagues one day. Jake Agnos taken in the 4th round by the New York Yankees. And Logan Wyatt, I guess it would be interleague play at least early. Logan Wyatt, 2nd round pick. San Francisco Giants. Strike 3 called. Back-to-back strikeouts to start the game for Jake Agnos. It's been a good year for the Louisville Cardinals. They win the ACC regular season, began the year number 8. They finished the season as the number 7 national seed, 31-8 here at Jim Patterson Stadium. And under Dan McDonald, it has been a complete turnaround. It's not that Louisville baseball didn't exist prior to Dan McDonald, but it did not exist in its current form. Most wins by Louisville in a season prior to Dan McDonald, 39. Dan McDonald now in his 13th year with the Louisville Cardinals. They've won 40 or more 12 of 13 years.
Well, you mentioned it didn't, I'm not saying it didn't exist. It didn't really exist for many people outside of Louisville. Now, this is a team that nationwide, everybody knows who they are. They expect them. You can be a kid in Washington and go, hey, I've seen that team in Omaha now. So that's exactly what he did. He put them on the map.
Agnos trying to have a 1-2-3 bottom of the 1st. How about 3 straight strikeouts to start the game? Swinging, looking, and swinging.
Jake Agnos, I mean, he came in there. We knew the power was there. Showing fastballs. He blows it by a guy. Blows it, then spots a fastball down and away. And he says, I'm more than a fastball. I have a breaking ball. Here you go.
Scoreless as we go to the 2nd. Reed Detmers goes right after Brady Lloyd. Lloyd in the 6th hole for East Carolina. East Carolina had a couple of base runners, a 2-out double from Alec Burleson, and Jake Washer walked. Stranded a couple in the top of the 1st. 3 straight Louisville hitters struck out in the bottom of the 1st. This one's popped up left side of the infield. Fitzgerald, the shortstop, makes the catch, and there is one away. in some ways a Louisville team that's a little bit short-handed. Michael McAveen is suspended for the first 2 games, which is a carryover of a suspension from the last 2 games of the regionals. But his teammates wanted to make sure that he was part of the pregame introductions. They brought his jersey onto the field, the all-black jerseys.
I like that. That's your team sticking with you, right?
Thomas Francisco, the DH, takes ball 1. Francisco, the freshman from Virginia, 4 home runs on the year. He's hitting .315, batting in the 7-hole today. Strike on the outside corner, 93-mile-an-hour fastball from Reed Detmers.
It's not a bad freshman year. .315 on base percentage, .453. I'll take that, right? Welcome to college baseball.
Breaking ball stays up. There's a strike. Count evens at 2-2 to Thomas Francisco.
To me, that's his best fastball right there. That looked a little bit like he's unsettled in his mechanics and everything, but right there, boy, the arm got up, fastball good downhill, spotted it right where he wanted to. Very competitive pitch on that 2-1 pitch.
This one chopper to short. Fitzgerald again on the run. 2 down in the inning. So Michael McAveen not available for the first 2 games of the Super Regional because of this. Makes a pitch, runs in a little bit, didn't like the call. Home plate umpire Ken Langford said it was a ball. But then he didn't like Michael McAveen's reaction, in which he said, "That's horrible." You see it there. "That's horrible," and got sent to the house. He's been a big part of this Louisville team. 7 saves on the year, 21 appearances. First pitch, fly ball, shallow right. Campbell makes the catch, and East Carolina goes 1-2-3. In the absence of Michael McAveen this weekend, Michael Kirian will be the closer if needed in the first 2 games. Scoreless as we go to the bottom of the 2nd inning. 3 straight strikeouts for Jake Agnos of Dunn, Wyatt, and Fitzgerald in the first. Good group of East Carolina fans here from Greenville. How about the all-time strikeout leader in the AAC?
Yeah, big congrats for Jay Agnos, now sitting at number 5 in ECU history, but being able to sit atop the AAC, sorry about that, leaderboard.
And Romero, the guy that he passed at Houston, was a good one. And a ball that got away down the left field line. Bunch of kids at the ballpark. A little bit of a tough ask maybe for folks. Noon Eastern time on a Friday, but I think there were a few. Yeah, I'm probably not going to make it back to work for the afternoon decisions that were made today.
How much work's getting done, you know, in the after 2 o'clock on a Friday, right?
Foul territory, third base side. Giles over at the edge of the dugout. It will catch the roof of the dugout. East Carolina side on the third base side. Alex Pinellas, the freshman. What a year. 14 home runs, 57 runs batted in. 6 hits, including a home run, and 5 driven in the regional. Lays off.
We've shown a nice mix of pitches. The fastball, the hook, just misses inside. It's only because really the catcher Washer has to reach across the plate. I know those are close. That's not the pitch that Jake Agnos wants. He wants the breaking ball going more downward plane. That flat ball's flattened out a little bit. It looked like it froze Pinellas a little bit, but that's not the one he wants.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Alex Pinellas. Pinellas lifts it to right, and Burleson is able to track it down. who start the ball game for Agnos. 3 strikeouts and then a flyout.
Two good takes on some breaking balls up, and then he's right on that 94-mile-an-hour fastball.
Jake Snyder coming to the plate now for Louisville. Take strike 1. And Jake Snyder is a guy who comes to life in postseason play. He was the most outstanding player of the Louisville Regional. 9 hits, 4 runs scored, and 5 RBIs last week in 5 games. Pops it up here to Giles over in foul territory for the 2nd out of the inning. For more coverage of the Division I baseball tournament and interactive brackets, go to NCAA.com. 4 of the 8 Super Regionals get started today. In addition to our matchup here in Louisville, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State follows us in Lubbock. That game's at 3 Eastern on ESPN2. Tonight, there are pretty good ones. Duke Vanderbilt in Nashville. And then out on the West Coast, Michigan and the #1 overall national seed UCLA, who, like these 2 teams, had to fight their way through the losers bracket. Had to beat LMU a couple of times to advance to the Super Regional round. Danny Oriente. Behind in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Both of these pitchers, especially Agnos, have been able to work ahead in the count.
Absolutely, and that's the mark of the strikeout guys. I mean, you're going to stay ahead. You got to keep yourself in advantage counts, those 0-2, 1-2 counts. I mean, that's how you're going to get the strikeout. So the guys used to pitching ahead.
Oriente gets a piece and stays alive. Ball up the first baseline. That one's handled by Brickhouse. He'll flip to Agnos, who's racing over to first base. How about that for some hustle?
Yeah, that's a nice close right there. Agnos knew off the bat he wasn't going to be able to get there, and so nice hustle, being able to get there. Still scoreless in Louisville.
You're watching the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Jim Patterson Stadium in Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville, the home team in game 1. East Carolina, the visitors batting here in the top of the 3rd. Our bracket, our half of the road to Omaha. Vanderbilt and Duke coming up tonight. Mississippi State, Stanford, game 1 tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow morning in Chapel Hill, North Carolina and Auburn. Game 1 of their Super Regional. This ball blasted down the left field line. Bryson Worrell, though, out in front. Got a chance to make a catch on top of your RV. Did he fumble it?
I'll tell you, I don't think he made it. I think he bobbled it.
You get that chance, you got to make a play.
That's a great setup, though.
I think we could tomorrow maybe set up that as our broadcast booth.
I don't know, but that would be a great setup for the broadcast right there. But
all right, give it a look. Give it a look. He comes up.
Oh man, you can't miss that. You gotta have the glove.
No good. Ball and 2 strikes to Bryson Worrell. Just missed. A little bit of a flinch there from Marcus Patillo, the home plate umpire. 2-2.
You're right, though, flinch, because he looked like he wanted it. I think that's a little bit of how catcher Henry Davis caught that ball. He just kept continuing to bring that ball into the dirt. There it is.
Called strike 3. Worrell goes away looking. 2nd strikeout of the game by Reed Detmers.
That was a nice adjustment by Reed Detmers, getting back a little bit more in front of that break ball on top of it. A nice job, Henry Davis, catching that ball. Look at, see that front hip leave?
Top of the lineup, Bryant Packard batting for the second time. Flew out to left on the first pitch that he saw. Lines this one to left, and it's going to fall in front of Snyder. Base hit for Bryant Packard. Second hit of the game for East Carolina.
Ooh, off the bat, that might have been a play you might have wanted to go after. It looked like it bounced right in front of him, like he almost pulled back from it.
Detmers following the great Brendan McKay here at Louisville. McKay, a two-way player. You see the 2017 year in which he won the Golden Spikes Award, 11-3. Numbers pretty comparable. Strikeout numbers and the walk numbers for Reed Detmers this year actually better than what Brendan McKay had in 2017.
You talk about shoes to fill, right? Left-hander on the mound. It's opening weekend and starter. That's some big shoes.
You think Dan McDonald's got a four-leaf clover or a rabbit's foot that he carries around in his pocket? Think about this. So you had Brendan McKay in 2015, 2016, 2017. And then you roll into 2018 and you got this lefty as a midweek starter. And now in his sophomore season, he's the ACC Pitcher of the Year. And you've got an entire another year with Reed Detmers on the mound.
Just a little torch passing.
Second out of the inning after the pop-up to Levy out at second base.
To me, he looks so much more comfortable out here in this inning as the previous two. Going out there, it looked like he was a little rushed. Maybe the nerves of starting this game, you know, is kind of getting to him a little bit, falling behind hitters. But now he has found a groove and pumping strikes.
76 degrees at first pitch today. Winds out of the east, which means blowing in today. Coming in primarily from right field, but swirling a little bit. This is a ballpark that when the wind is blowing in plays really big. Without much wind, told, yeah, it just kind of plays fair. It's not a ballpark that ever really plays small, though. Burleson lays off. Alec Burleson doubled into the left center field gap his first time up. It was a two-out base hit in the first. So 1 for 1 today. Cliff Godwin described Alec Burleson as super competitive to the point of being one of those guys that kind of frustrates you.
Boy, when you get a hook like that on left coming at you, boy, you'll see a little buckling action. Not a fun feeling for a left-handed hitter.
Runs this pitch inside.
Yeah, and then you bring this one right back into it. So now as a hitter, you're saying, all right, the first one looked like I buckled. I felt a little embarrassed about that. Now I'm going to stay in. And all of a sudden, it's a 92-mile fastball running on your hands. That'll set up another breaking ball down and away.
Detmers ahead of the count, 2 balls and a strike. Trying to keep working in, and Burleson earns first base.
Well, I like the thought process. I like you got to establish the inside part of the plate. But he already did the pitch before that. And I think he was going away. You see Davis was set up away, and he has to reach back across. That ball brushed him on that back elbow. And that's that pitching arm, too.
2 down for Jake Washer. Walked his first time up. A couple of base runners in the first for East Carolina. They went 1, 2, 3 in the second. A couple of base runners here. Packard at second, Burleson at first, and Washer takes the pitch away for ball 1.
See if ECU can be the first to strike, keep their 2-out hitting. They've done so well all year.
This one gets away from Davis, rolls all the way to the Louisville dugout. Both runners move up, and Louisville fortunate there. There's actually a gap in the middle of the dugout. So there's like a secondary entrance right in the middle of the dugout. If the ball goes in, you're looking at a run coming around to score. So now the potential first run of the game, standing at third base, and Bryant Packard led the inning off with a single. Burleson's in scoring position out at second. And Jake Washer, who's driven in 55 runs this year, is ahead of the count, 2-0. Now it's 3-0.
You know, you're thinking, hey, 2-0, make him hit my pitch. Base is empty at first base. I got to, you know, I can put him on right there. But you got a guy, Spencer Brickhouse, 21 two-out RBIs, hitting .394 with runners in scoring position. Not the guy you want to pitch, you know, put a guy on to pitch to.
It is a left-on-left matchup that you can potentially get to with Brickhouse. This one's fouled away. Green light on a 3-0 for Jake Washer.
That's showing some trust in your cleanup hitter. I don't know if I could have done that right there. I think I'm taking that pitch. You get out on it. You pop up a 3-0 pitch. It's not going to sit real well with Coach Godwin.
Isn't it more about the type of swing you take than what the result is? If you go after a 3-0, you better really go after one.
Oh, you better get the head out. It better be a pitch you can absolutely drive.
Swing and a miss. Now 3-2. Detmer's trying to fight back. So on a 3-0, Washer goes after a fastball, fouls it away. Chases a fastball off the plate to get to a full count. Jim Patterson Stadium coming to life. Swing and a miss. Big strikeout for Reed Detmers. East Carolina strands a couple.
Now you talk about battling all the way back, fall behind 3-0, couple fastballs. That's what happened. You got this kind of heater. You trust it, and make him expand the zone. Nice job, Reed Detmers.
Couple of hits for East Carolina, but they've also stranded 4 runners through their first 3 at-bats. Scoreless as we go to the bottom of the third. Start of a big day of college baseball. When we get finished here in Louisville, we will send you to Lubbock for Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. Tonight on ESPN2, Duke and number 2 national seed Vanderbilt. Then it's the number 1 national seed in the nightcap out on the West Coast in Los Angeles at Jackie Robinson Stadium, Michigan, who won the Corvallis Regional, meeting up with UCLA.
A new inning, same result. Agnos blowing heaters by the Cardinal hitters.
3 strikeouts in the bottom of the first for Jake Agnos. Gets a ground ball to short here. No trouble. Brown to Brickhouse, 1 away. In the second inning, fly out, pop out, ground out, and then a ground out here to start the third for Jake Agnos. Jake Agnos set a single season strikeout record this year at East Carolina with 140 coming into this ball game. So he's sitting at 143 for the year. Facing Henry Davis, the freshman from Bedford, New York. Davis batting in the 8 hole. Agnos rarely falling behind. There's a strike, 2-1.
Well, that's a beautiful pitch. Fastball on the black inside. You think 2-0, you know, guys are going to stay away. That's just challenging right in. I don't let the guy get his arms extended.
Chopper to short. Should be an easy play for Brown. And there are 2 down. ACC Network is coming on August 22nd. You want the ACC Network? Well, visit getaccn.com to check availability in your area. If you don't see your provider listed, demand that they carry the ACC network. A couple of groundouts to start the third inning. Justin Levy, 9-hole hitter for Louisville.
That's another beautiful fastball in right there. Goes in and gets inside. See the hands kind of come in, just not the same swings that you normally see. Just opens up so much more of the plate if he can continue to establish that ball inside.
Check swing, strike two. And Levy is behind in the count. Dan McDonald, the head coach of Louisville, is going to join us. And we go to the top of the fourth inning. Jake Agnos trying to retire the first 9 of the game. .93 on the inside part of the plate, or it's just off the plate. Backs Levy off. Strikeout number 4, maybe a little bit of an extension. Justin Levy takes it looking, and Agnos gets the call. Dan McDonald joins us when we come back, scoreless through 3. Scoreless as we go to the top of the fourth inning. Yeah, Dan McDonald's got a bunch of fans here in Louisville. 13th season as the head coach of the Cardinals, and he joins us right now from the first base dugout. Coach, appreciate your time. With what you've built here, how have you gone about kind of shaping Louisville into a national power in baseball?
Well, I mean, I appreciate you saying me. It's obviously a lot of people at work, man. It starts at the top with administration. You got to get the right coaches in here, and then, you know, all that leads to getting the right players. And
yeah, heads up down there.
You know, as both head coaches today, you know, we come from, you know, I'll say the Mike Bianco system, and I'm sure he'll say the Skip Bertman system, and, you know, how to build a program. And I got firsthand, I got to see Mike do it at Ole Miss, so it prepared me for this.
Well, Coach, you're talking about Reed Detmers, and this is obviously a guy that you can easily build a program around. To me, looked a little anxious early on, but it looks to be settling down. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, both lefties. I mean, conference pitchers of the year. These guys throw low 90s with really good breaking balls. And, you know, you expect some adrenaline. And, you know, this time of the year, it's all about putting pressure and who cracks, you know, who makes a mistake. And it's not about playing perfect. But, you know, my message to our guys, man, let's just play fast. Let's be aggressive. Let's do what we do.
Coach, last thing for you. You go Brendan McKay, and then you roll right into Reed Detmers. Is it a lucky rabbit foot? Is it a 4-leaf clover? Well, pretty good fortune, right?
Well, there's no doubt in college baseball. We all know guys like McKay and Detmers make us look awful good, but I think it just goes back to hard work, loving on these kids, treating them right, and helping them achieve all their goals. So we're always fortunate when these guys choose to come to Louisville.
Coach, you've done a phenomenal job. Wish you the best.
Thanks, guys.
Dan McDonald, head coach, 13th season here at Louisville. You already mentioned the Mike Bianco coaching tree, and then if you take it a step farther, actually Skip Bertman. Dan McDonald, after working as an assistant at the Citadel, which is where he played college baseball, joined Mike Bianco's staff, spent 5 seasons in Oxford, helped with the building of that program, before getting the opportunity to be the head coach here at Louisville. And it's kind of one of those the rest is history stories as Brady Lloyd goes down swinging. That's the 4th strikeout of the game for Reed Detmers.
Well, you heard Coach McDonald mention both guys have big breaking balls, and you're seeing 2 right there. Really nice curve balls from Reed Detmers. But when you talk about, you hear him talk, and you talk about recruiting, which is obviously the life thing of a college baseball program. I mean, how could you hear that talk and not want to come play for this guy?
First pitch to Thomas Francisco misses away. Over the last 10 years, Dan McDonald, look at where Louisville stands up. Most wins in the country, 9 more than Vanderbilt. They've not been able to win the national championship, the College World Series, but you keep knocking on the door, you can eventually get there. Louisville trying to make its 5th trip to the College World Series under Dan McDonald. Won Super Regionals in 2007, 2013, and 14, and then again in 2017. All of those have been here in Louisville. 2-out base hit for Thomas Francisco. Lines that one into right center. Third hit of the game for the Pirates. You heard Dan McDonald reference it. Not only was he on Mike Bianco's staff at Ole Miss, but you also had Cliff Godwin, who was on the staff at Ole Miss as well, part of that 2014 Ole Miss team that advanced to the College World Series. And interestingly enough, these three head coaches all playing in Super Regionals this weekend.
Well, you look at both of their resumes when you talk about coaches they've coached under. Obviously, McDonald's was just one guy on Bianco. Then he got his position here and has obviously run away with it. But Coach Godwin was at LSU, was at Vanderbilt, at Notre Dame. I mean, you're talking about a lot of postseason appearances in all. So, I mean, these guys expect to be playing postseason baseball, and it just kind of filters into their players, and they play just like that.
Swing and a miss there. Godwin was an operations guy at Vanderbilt under Tim Corbin, worked under Paul Maneri at both Notre Dame and LSU. Coached at UCF. He made the move to Ole Miss and now back at his alma mater as the head coach in the place where he was on 3 postseason teams. Fly ball to right. Campbell, a couple of steps back, makes the catch. And East Carolina strands another. They've left 5 on through 4 at bats. We'll talk to Cliff Godwin when we come back. Louisville Super Regional, we've talked to Dan McDonald. He was an assistant under Mike Bianco at Ole Miss. Cliff Godwin was as well. 2014 when the Rebels made it to the College World Series. He was the recruiting coordinator on that staff, and he joins us right now. The tie, though, to Cliff Godwin is strong in purple. He is coaching at his alma mater, and Cliff, obviously a big stage for your guys. How do you feel about how your team is early in this game?
I think they're great. They've been loose, had a lot of energy. Jake's been pitching great. You know, we're facing an ace, you know, and their guys. So you got 2 aces, 2 Friday night guys, 2 pitcher of the years in each conference. So it's tough to score runs with the wind blowing in today.
Well, Coach Godwin, how do you keep your guys from not tensing up so much? Because, I mean, I think you can make the moment bigger than it is. How do you keep them loose?
I don't talk to them because it's a pretty loose group. I just tell them what the plan is and go out there and play our brand of baseball and let the rest take care of itself.
Cliff, it's interesting to me, and I know sometimes the idea of a chip on your shoulder gets overplayed, but that's something that you talked to me about a little bit yesterday. It's also something that Jake Agnos said. He said just because of his size, everybody's always looked down to him, and he pitches with that chip. How important is that as a part of your program?
Well, we just want to be blue collar. Look, we're not going to have, 13 draft picks like UCLA and Vanderbilt, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that we can't go out there and compete with the best. We just got to go out there and win pitches.
Coach, really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That is Cliff Godwin in his 5th season as the head coach at his alma mater, East Carolina. They may not have 13, but there were 7 draft picks for East Carolina. I don't know that anybody's feeling sorry for Cliff Godwin and the Pirate staff.
Well, no, you talk about he's the chip on your shoulder. I mean, because when you just pull up the scouting report, you take out his measurables, Jake Agnos, and you're talking the fastball velocity is there. We've seen 95 already from the left side.
This ball lined into the right center field gap by Logan Wyatt. That ball's going to roll all the way to the wall. Wyatt gets to second. He will stop there. First hit of the game for Louisville. A 1-out double here in the bottom of the 4th.
This is what we see from the second rounder in that 12th double of the season. Fastball up, you put yourself in a good count. 3-1, ball right over the middle part of the plate. Full extension, and he got a little stand-up double, put that ball in the gap.
It's a big difference when you're not 1 and 2, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm telling you, you got advantage counts as a hitter, advantage counts as a pitcher, and if you can stay out of those disadvantaged ones, man, it just makes your job a lot easier. But going back to Jake Agnos, I mean, the scouting report, big breaking ball, hard breaking ball, fastballs there. The numbers are unbelievable. Why is this guy a 4th round pick? He said because he's 5'11", and I'm like, man, guys just overplay that too much because the guy can pitch.
Agnos will trade in the purple and gold for pinstripes. Picked in the 4th round by the Yankees.
That 4th round's a good round, though.
Get some fond memories from the 4th round.
The 4th round is a good round. It's a good round.
My guess is if Jake Agnos, if you told him today, how about an 8-year big league career, he'd say, I'm in.
Yeah, he needs to be a starter. He's got the stuff to be a starter.
This ball lined to left, and Louisville about to be on the board. Fitzgerald down into the corner. Logan Wyatt comes around to score an RBI double, and the Cardinals take a 1-0 lead.
Nice job by Fitzgerald getting that ball up in the zone. You got to get him up. And once he's up in the zone off speed and he's able to pound that ball into left field for another double, just trading places with Logan Wyatt. That's a good way to get the crowd active.
Dan Roselle, the pitching coach, out to talk to Jake Agnos. Just a quick chat, probably to settle down.
Yeah, you got the 2 hardest hit balls in me. He had cruised through the first 10, had retired 10 in a row, and then all of a sudden you got back-to-back hard hit balls, and sometimes that can rock you a little bit, and then the crowd gets involved. So he does a nice job of going out there. I thought the timing was really good.
First 10 hitters of the game as Louisville goes with the alternate option on how to wear the glasses. Michael McAveen not in the dugout, but his jersey is. Teammates keeping that alive. McAveen not available for the first 2 games of the Super Regional. He was suspended during the regional, ejected from the game for arguing balls and strikes from the mound, and that carries with it a mandatory 4-game suspension. Here's Alex Benelis. Benelis flew out to right his first time up. First 10 of the game retired by Jake Agnos, but he has given up back-to-back doubles to right center and then into the left field corner to Wyatt and Fitzgerald.
You got to be careful this inning, and Benelis was to hit that absolute missile to right field. So especially now falling behind again, I mean, this inning could get out of hand pretty quickly with where they're at in the lineup.
The rule, you understand, for arguing balls and strikes is designed for a starting pitcher. That's why it's a 4-game suspension. You miss 4 games, that means you miss a start. Don't you have to look at it with some common sense when you're talking about a reliever? Because the rule's different for a position player.
I think you do. It's tough. That's a tough way to go. I mean, you know, obviously I would think that first game that you get tossed, that should be one of them at least, because hey, I'm having to miss something. I'm coming off the field for that. But you're right, man. 4 games, that's a tough, you know, especially you're not worried about it if it's in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Where it happens now, it really is evident that, hey, something might need to change.
2 outs, 2 strikes, bottom of the 9th of a regional game. Emotions going high. And we probably should say this. Ken Langford, by rule, did nothing wrong. An ejection is automatic for players for arguing balls and strikes in a game. What you'd like to see, though, is a little more discretion and perhaps a warning. A 4-pitch walk to Alex Benelis. Or maybe even the umpire goes out and says something to the pitcher, or he goes to the head coach and says, Coach, your guy even looks sideways again. He's gone.
Well, usually you have an umpire go, hey, like, you know, you're like, that's enough, you know, let you know, like, that's enough. We've had enough of that, all right. And then that kind of gives the pitcher, all right, I pushed my limit, I know where to go, and I know not to get to that point again. All right, I am going to be tossed.
Agnos trying to work out of a mess here in the 4th inning. He got a fly out to start the inning, back-to-back doubles, and then a 4-pitch walk to Alex Benelis.
Looks like he's just not finishing that breaking ball, the fastball as well. So Sometimes you start to try to baby a pitch. When you can't find the zone, you're trying to feel for that zone. You got to just forget about that. Trust your stuff. Let it go.
Jake Snyder, drafted by Pittsburgh in the 20th round. A light rain, very light rain falling here in Louisville. This ball's lined into right off the bat of Snyder. Pinellas gets to second. Fitzgerald stops at third. Bases loaded with one out. What's different right now for Agnos on the mound than the first 10 that came to the plate when he sat him down in order?
It's ball one, ball two. The first 10 he was 0-1, 0-2. You know, being in those advantage counts, putting his put-away pitch where he wanted to. Now he just is trying to feel for that pitch. I thought that was a nice job of holding up the runner. You got a guy with a rocket arm. You talk about a closer in right field who is a really good outfielder.
Still just one out, bases loaded. Louisville on the board with a run. An RBI double from Fitzgerald. First pitch strike to Danny Oriente.
I mean, after all this stuff, all the things that have continued to happen, the hard hit balls, when you look at it, you're only one pitch away. I mean, that's what the pitching coaches will try to teach you. You're one pitch away. Make this pitch. But you do have a guy, look at this, yeah, 6 for 11, 545 with bases loaded this year.
That's good, right?
Yeah, I mean, God, how did you chance to get 11 at bats? When things are going right for you, it just seems like the right guy comes up at the right time.
Danny Oriente has been named to the all-regional team in each of the last 2 seasons for Louisville. He's hitting .428 for his career in the postseason. And has driven in 11 runs. Big RBI opportunity here with one out and the bases loaded for Danny Oriente, the DH, hitting in the 6 hole. Grounds it down the first base line, a base hit. Fitzgerald comes around to score. Pinellas comes around to score. Snyder slides in safely. A bases clearing double for Danny Oriente. He's now driven in 14 in his career in the postseason.
And that average keeps going up. That's one of those things, just like this inning, you just can't stop it when it comes to Jake Agnos. That ball's just down the line inside the first base bag. I thought it had triple written all over it, especially with only one out. You knew they were scoring all of them, so bases clearing double. Danny Oriente and the Louisville crowd is excited.
After the first 10 of the game were retired by Jake Agnos with 4 strikeouts, couple of pop-ups, and 3 groundouts. I guess 3 pop-ups and 3 groundouts. 5 in a row have reached safely for Louisville. 2 doubles, a walk, a single, and another double. And now Drew Campbell, who grounded to short his first time up. Pass with 1 out in the bases. Excuse me, runner at second. Oriente at second. Ground ball left side. That's a base hit through the 6 hole. Turner Brown, the shortstop, was pulled up the middle. Left the left side of the infield wide open. That's 6 in a row that have reached safely for Louisville.
No pun intended, but when it rains, it pours. It just seems like everything Louisville's doing, you know, they're hitting the ball hard, they're hitting the ball soft, and it still finds holes. And I don't know if you see the ponchos in the stands, and guys are starting to, the rain's coming a little bit. That might be something that has affected Jake Agnos.
See Jake Agnos, 16 pitches in the first, 12 and 10 in the second and the third. He's laboring here in the fourth. 21 pitches. And again, to your point, he's just falling behind consistently, hitter after hitter.
Like I said, I don't know if it's the rain. Maybe the ball's getting a little slick and he just doesn't have a good feel with it. But you're right, it's something totally different from the first 3 innings and how good he did look.
Henry Davis at the plate, 8-hole hitter for Louisville. Long way to play here, but Louisville off to the start that it is looking for, because Louisville is 4-0 in super regional play when winning game 1. Cardinals playing in a super regional for the 6th time in the last 7 years.
To me, coming into this super regional is kind of that race to 6 runs. You're talking Louisville 34-2 when they score 6 or more. East Carolina, when they score 6 or more, 32-3. So it's like that. If I can get to 6, I feel pretty good, especially with the guys on the mound. Now, easier said than done when you have your 2 aces, but Louisville's getting it done for them. I mean, they weren't on pitches, and now it just looks like they're seeing his pitches better, finding the right holes.
Davis able to hold up on the check swing.
You can see Davis tell him, no, I didn't swing. You can read his lips.
Louisville has only 1 loss this season when they have held a multi-run lead at any point in the game. Back on April 20th against Miami, the Cardinals had a 3-run lead against the Hurricane, but ultimately lost that game 16-11. It's the only time all season long where Louisville has led by 2 or more runs in a game that they've gone on to lose the game. Ball and 2 strikes now to Henry Davis. For Jake Agnos, as bad as the inning's been, it's still a 4-run deficit. You just try to figure out a way to get out of the inning and then hope you can kind of regroup and stick around a little longer.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got to do everything you can to stop the bleeding right here and then trust your offense. I mean, they put together some base runners against Detmers, but, you know, Detmers seems like that guy that's now I'm starting to find my groove. A lot of those big-time starters, if you don't get to them early, they start to settle in, and that's kind of the feel that I have with Detmers. But yeah, by all means, you got to be able to stop the bleeding right here.
And East Carolina on the offensive side, to your point, has had base runners in the game. They've stranded 5, had 2 base runners in the 1st inning, 2 in the 3rd inning, 1 in the 4th. But all of their base runners have come with 2 out. They've not been able to get guys on early in the inning. Full count now to Henry Davis.
I mean, you can just see, just even right there, they were swinging at pitches like that early in the game, and now they're not. So they have absolutely made an adjustment to facing Jake Agnos, and he has to do the same way, because you don't want to leave the game this early on the first game of, you know, what could be a 3-game set, and all of a sudden tax that bullpen the rest of the weekend.
Agnos keeping a close eye on Drew Campbell over at first. Last time Jake Agnos allowed 4 runs in a game, April 12th against UCLA. In fact, Agnos had only allowed 4 runs in his 7 starts combined since then.
So the man came in hot, obviously. Not a bad team to give up 4 runs to, right? #1 team in the country.
That was a close game at UCLA. Played that series in April. Popped up on the infield and a chance for a double play. There was a collision, and now, I say a collision, but a bump. So the catch made at second base for the 2nd out of the inning. They are not ruling a double play, but they are giving Campbell first base.
But just by rule, you got to give the defender, even if it's in the base pass, you got to give the defender the chance to field the ball. And he does still field the ball. See the little bump right here? And he still fields the ball. So that, I think it's what the umpires called him out on the catch. So even though he caught it, he still would have been out if he'd have dropped it.
So Cliff Godwin out of the dugout to talk to the second base umpire, Steve Mattingly. And the initial signal that you saw from Steve Mattingly was that there was going to be an out on the play regardless. Because of the contact you're going to have an out ruled. I think Cliff Godwin wants to know why he doesn't get the double play, or at least wants the umpiring crew to talk about it and make sure that that shouldn't be awarded.
Absolutely. The way he pointed, second base umpire Steve Mattingly, the way he pointed, he looked like he pointed at the runner like you're out for that. And so I think that's what kind of got both coaches like, all right, we're coming out of got to come out of the dugout to see what's going on. And it's a tough situation for Campbell right there. He knows I got to do everything I can to get back. So the head was down. All of a sudden you look up and you see Lloyd right in the middle of the base path.
So you've got the out on the pop out to second, but Drew Campbell gets to stay at first base. 2 out in the inning. That may be the biggest part of this, is Agnos finally got that second out and could potentially get out of the inning with no more damage.
Yeah, but it seems like even those little things go to Louisville's way. That ball, I mean, that could have been an easy double play. Stays up in the air long enough and allows Campbell to get back.
Oriente at third, Campbell at first. 4 runs in the inning. Leadoff double by Logan Wyatt. Tony Fitzgerald followed it up with an RBI double. Pinellas walked. You got a single from Snyder and then a 3-run double from Danny Oriente. That was the big hit in the inning. Slipped it inside the first base bag all the way down into the right field corner.
Now it looks like Jake Agnes is going to the changeup. That was a really nice changeup.
Levy 0 for 1, struck out looking to end the 3rd inning. Jake Agnos trying to make a pitch to get out of the inning here in the 4th and see if East Carolina can get the bats going. He gets a swing and a miss of Levy to end the inning. 5th strikeout of the game, but a big half inning for Louisville. Not only did they get on the board, they put a 4th spot up.
Yeah, Danny Oriente with the fastball away inside of first base. Base is clearing double. 4-0 here at the Ville.
We go to the top of the 5th inning in Louisville. Reed Detmers giving up some base runners. He's allowed 3 hits, but he's also got 4 strikeouts and seems to be settling in.
Yeah, it looked a little rocky and shaky early on, but the strikeouts we're seeing, that 3 of those in the last 2 innings. So, I mean, he's one of those guys to me that kind of, wanted to feel his way through the first couple innings and had to deal with all the emotions of the Super Regionals, knowing you are the ace, but has settled in really nicely.
We're in horse country. Lots of talk about triple crowns around here. I don't know that this triple crown actually exists, but if there was a triple crown for pitchers in the ACC, Reed Detmers would have won it this year. Led the league in wins, earned run average, and strikeouts.
I think I remember Pedro Martinez doing that, maybe even a couple of years when he was rolling.
Just across the street, the Twin Spires. It's behind the home plate side of the stadium. This was my first trip to Louisville. I got to the ballpark, saw that driving in, kind of walked up right outside the press box, and you're overlooking it. Wow,
it's right there.
That is it. That is Churchill Downs.
Yeah, as well as you walk outside that back press box, the little awning right here, and you go, oh, wait, we're that close. To me, one of the big things this inning is that was a long inning for Reed Detmers. Your team puts up, almost bats around the lineup, puts up 4 runs. Now you got a little rain. How is he going to affect him? Didn't look like it affected that breaking ball.
Did not get Worrell to chase. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Bryson Worrell. The 9-hole hitter struck out looking. That was to start the 3rd inning. Starts the 5th inning here. Takes the pitch away. Full count now to Bryson Worrell. Detmers gave up a double and a walk in the 1st inning. A single and hit a batter in the 3rd inning. Gave up a 2-out single in the 4th. It's a ground ball to second. Easy play for Levy over to Wyatt. 1 down. We'll have Game 4 of the NBA Finals from Oracle tonight on ABC and the ESPN app. The Raptors up 2-1 on the Warriors. Coverage starts with NBA Countdown at 8:30 Eastern. That's 5:30 on the West Coast. Kawhi and the Raptors, Steph Curry and the Warriors. Raptors trying to go up 3-1. Klay Thompson expected to play tonight. Still no word on KD, but seems unlikely he is out.
Starting to see sorry about that, Rich. Starting to see a trend right there. Bryant Packard hitting .472 on first pitches this season. He's 1 for 2 already today, and he went up there hacking again. These ECU hitters, they're aggressive. They're within the first 3 pitches, either the 0-0, 1-0, or the 0-1 pitch. I mean, those guys are hitting like, I think, 400 off of those pitches. So it's one of those, if you get deep into the count with them, you got a lot better shot.
Bryant Packard was a member of Team USA last summer. First pitch of the game flew out to left. Line one the opposite way on the first pitch he saw in the 3rd inning. 1-1 missed inside for ball 2. 2 balls and a strike.
But that was a huge out to be able to get that leadoff guy, especially after such a big inning, knowing that you're at the top of the lineup after him.
Two balls, 2 strikes to Bryant Packard, leading off the top of the 5th inning. It's one of those moments in the game where you feel like it's really important for East Carolina to answer. But from a pitching standpoint, you're looking for that shutdown.
Oh, you absolutely need to put up a 0. And like you said, this might be the most important inning for Detmers.
I'm called right before the pitch, and Detmers just lets it fly.
Well, that's dangerous right there for Packard. He needs to get out of the way.
Got a right-hander in the bullpen for East Carolina. Started throwing the last half inning, so it makes you wonder if the day is over.
Oh, I would say it is. And if he's still throwing like that, and he's, you know, the pace is pretty quick that he is throwing.
How about Detmers fielding his spot, flips it over. Packard retired for the 2nd out of the inning.
Boy, I love it when a pitcher can field his position, especially on this turf field, because that ball gets past you. The ball's a lot faster, so you never know, man. But nice job right there by Detmers. Telling you, it get past you, especially on the hard surface right here. That's going to be an automatic hit.
The only natural surface on the field is the pitching mound. You've got the true dirt mound. Everything else is turf. We talked about rain, you know, a little bit, kind of a light rain falling. You got to have some pretty significant rain to have to cause a game to be stopped here. Down showed bunt, took a strike. Count evens at 1-1.
That just shows me he's locked in. A lot of times, guy will square around the bunt, especially 1-0. It might make you flinch a little bit and pull that pitch. And that was a beautiful fastball in.
Fly ball down the left field line, but Brown out in front. Just a long strike. Count goes to 1-2. Detmers with a big game in the regional. The 11 strikeouts broke Brendan McKay's season record for strikeouts. Continues to add to that number. 160 strikeouts on the season for Reed Detmers. Most ever in a year by a Louisville pitcher. Game 1, best of 3 series. We got started last weekend with 64 teams. 16 4-team regionals. Got the field down to 16 this week. You've got 8 sites where you're playing best 2 out of 3. That pitch just missed. To set up the field of 8 teams in the College World Series that starts next Saturday.
When you say just missed, I don't know where. I think it all is on how big, you know, Davis catches that ball. You got to be able to stick that low pitch because that's breaking over the plate.
Another breaking ball misses.
And that's the tough part about having such a big breaking ball. Detmer's, Agnos is a little bit tighter. It's a little bit harder. Detmer's is bigger and a little bit slower. And if a guy lays off the best breaking ball, like you've seen these two, I mean, those are nasty pitches. They're balls. That's what's so tough, especially when you get to the next level.
Missed with 3 in a row, and Brown draws the 2-out walk.
You got to give it to Brown, man. Laid off some unbelievable pitches. Even that last one was a fastball that was very competitive.
6th base runner that East Carolina has had in the game, but all of the base runners have come with 2 outs. A double and a walk in the first inning. Let me correct that. Packard had a 1-out single, and then you had 2nd base runner in the 3rd inning when Burleson was hit by the pitch. 2-out single in the 4th, and a 2-out walk here in the 5th. Richard Cross, Lance Cormier with you from Louisville, Kentucky. Jim Patterson Stadium. First pitch strike to Burleson. Been on base twice, a double and hit by the pitch.
I think the way Davis caught that ball and he ran off too kind of affected a little bit of the way Detmer's attitude was toward those next couple pitches. I know he's got a 0 on the board, but look at those 76 pitches from Detmer's already in the 5th inning. Not too far off where you want to be, but when it's talking about extending past the 7th inning, you got to be able to get some quicker outs.
Couple of groundouts to start the inning, then a full count walk to Turner Brown. This pitch runs inside. East Carolina down 4-0. Gave up 4 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning. But a hot hitter here in Alex Burleson. He's got 9 long balls on the year. Tough ballpark to hit one out today, though. Wind at about 13-14 miles an hour, and it's blowing in from right field. There's a strike on the corner to Burleson.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially the left-handers. You're not going to pull it. If you pull one, you better keep it low. It better be one of those low-line drives that doesn't get too high.
Hit a stinger.
Even to try to keep it below those flagpoles be tough.
I'm thinking that Tiger Woods 2-iron, right?
Not my 2-iron, that's for sure.
You've got a 2-iron in your bag. I'm not playing golf with you. Not happening.
Hey, you buy all the clubs, right? They all come with it. He's keeping a close eye on Brown right here. I mean, he does have 11 of 14, but this is one of those positions. I mean, you got your 3-hole hitter, your best hitter up in the lineup right now. Probably not looking. I know you want to get him to scoring position, but probably not looking to take the bat out of his hand.
Burleson takes outside, full count. That's what you were talking about a second ago with Davis. He was able to stick that one, pitch just off the plate.
Yeah, I mean, to me, though, he's going to the knee when he doesn't need to. He's reaching across. He's not sucking that down, you know, the low pitch up. Because there's some pitches for Detmer that have been close enough that if they're caught a little different, they might have been able to get it.
Runner goes, swing and a miss. A strikeout for Reed Detmers to get out of the inning. His 5th of the game. Halfway home in Louisville, 4-0. The Cardinals lead it. Winner here in Louisville will meet the winner of Vanderbilt and Duke in Game 1 of the College World Series. That game coming up tonight, 6 Eastern on ESPN2. One of the biggest stars in college baseball plays for the Vanderbilt Commodores. J.J. Bleday leads the country with 26 home runs. He's a swimming guy, too.
Yeah, didn't know that. Look at that, Captain Crunch. But yeah, that's a guy with some amazing power.
Another Adam played for the Quakers at Penn. J.J. Blade. What a season he's had. New pitcher in the game for East Carolina. 4 innings, 4 runs allowed for Jake Agnos. Zach Barnes, the new pitcher, the senior from San Jacinto, California, making his 29th appearance of the year. 2-2, 5.71 ERA, and a dangerous lineup that he's facing.
Yeah, fastball's 90 to 93. Possesses a sharp breaking curveball. Journeyman, though, been 3 different schools. Started off at Butler, Iowa Western Community College, and now ECU.
Lucas Dunn leading off, top of the lineup for Louisville in the 5th inning. 4 runs in the 4th. They got an RBI double from Tyler Fitzgerald, a 3-run double for Danny Oriente. That was the big hit in the inning. You a Captain Crunch guy?
No, Fruity Pebbles.
Ooh. Kind of makes the milk that funny color, though.
Yeah, it makes it even better to drink after. Went Fruit Loops this morning.
Fruit Loops?
Mm-hmm. So the theme
is that
is,
at the hotel?
Mm-hmm.
I missed the Fruit Loops.
The theme would be fruity cereal. None of the good stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. Hopped up first base side. Brickhouse gives it a chase. Wind is going to push it out of play.
Wow, you could see the wind. You push it out of the way. I mean, I didn't think he was going to have a chance to catch it, but I thought it'd be close. But that ball just caught in the jet stream and ended up about 10 feet over the wall.
You ever had a Captain Crunch milkshake?
I have had a Captain Crunch like breakfast sandwich. Like where the bread is crushed in, you know, that's like they kind of fry the bread or saute the bread with crunch all over it.
That's new to me.
They crush it up. French toast. Sorry, don't say breakfast sandwich. French toast.
Breakfast sandwich and French toast is not the same thing. Now, if you were to take it another level and go 2 pieces of French toast with meat and eggs in between it, now you have a sandwich. At the Lance Cormier,
forget what it's called. It's in Baltimore.
Diner. That'll be the featured item on the menu. Full count.
Nice breakfast stop in Baltimore and Fells Point. Forget what it's called though. Little hole in the wall.
Captain Crunch French toast.
Yep.
I'd give that a try.
It was one of those things. My wife always used to find places where we were, and it was on Food Network, and you can, we go find the best place.
Oh, just under the glove of Lloyd. He was pulled up the middle, had to cover a lot of ground, laid out, couldn't quite get there. Leadoff single for Lucas Dunn, 6th hit of the game for Louisville. How many different cities for you in the big leagues?
5 different teams, so 5 cities. But I thought you were talking about lived in 17 different cities through my career.
Really?
10 states, 17 cities, 48 moves.
Favorite spot?
Some good ones. Favorite team was Tampa. Favorite spot might have been Baltimore. Living in Baltimore, we lived right on the Inner Harbor. Rode my bike to the field every day.
Lucas Dunn, pretty decent lead over at first base. Kind of flinched as he dove back in. It's a Louisville team that loves to run. 106 steals on the year. And Lucas Dunn near the top of that list. He's 14 of 16. Pitch runs inside. That catches the jersey of Logan Wyatt. And this is not how East Carolina wanted the 5th to start.
Absolutely not, especially now that the pressure is off of you. You have that 4-run lead. I bet we're going to see some action on the base paths. Just becomes a fastball up and in. Clips the jersey of Logan Wyatt.
Another meeting on the mound for East Carolina. Garrett Saylor is up and throwing in the bullpen for the Pirates. And nothing's been easy this year for East Carolina. You look at their record, 47-16, and they went 20-4 in the American Athletic Conference. So the numbers are pretty gaudy. But the weather, especially in the South and where East Carolina has been this year, has been a disaster. They have had 10 different weekends where they've had to play a doubleheader. And the remarkable thing is they had to do that against UCLA when they were there. They lost those 2 games. So in the 20 games out of those 10 doubleheaders, East Carolina went 18-2. They lost both games to UCLA, but went 2-0 in the other 9 doubleheaders that they had to play because of weather this year.
And Coach Godwin talked about that's what kind of prepared them for the regionals when they lost that game and fell into the elimination rounds. But that's a lot of doubleheaders. You're talking what? 16 weekends on the season, so 10 of 16 you're playing a doubleheader.
That's not the way you draw it up.
That's how it used to be, though, right? I think so. You used to play one Friday, 2 Saturday, I think.
Or was it 2 Saturday and then
maybe
one Sunday?
That might be it.
I think Friday night games kind of started early 90s when they turned it into a weekend series. As you looked around the country and you saw big crowds everywhere. I mean, there's a business element to it that some athletics directors looked and said, well, hold on. Instead of just bringing this many people to the ballpark twice, what if we did that 3 times on a weekend?
Yeah, let's spread that out. Zach Barnes does the inside move to see if Louisville would show bunt.
Fitzgerald fouls it away.
I don't believe, though, with the way they've been swinging the bat, you know, you would give away an out right here. 2 guys on, nobody out in a situation where everybody throughout the lineup that last inning pretty much squared up the ball.
Game 1 of the Louisville Super Regional. East Carolina took 5 games. They lost their regional opener and then won 4 in a row last weekend. Once over NC State, once over Quinnipiac, who had beaten them in game 1, and then twice over Campbell on Monday, 10-3 and 12-3, to advance here to the Louisville Super Regional. 5th season for Cliff Godwin, coaching at his alma mater. Louisville won the opener here in the Louisville Regional last weekend against Illinois State. Excuse me, against UIC. Then they lost to Illinois State and then won 3 in a row. They beat Indiana and Illinois State twice, once on Sunday and then once on Monday, to advance to the Super Regional. Tom?
Yeah, he might be a guy going to play third base.
This ball lifted to left. That'll fall for a base hit in front of Packard down in left. Lucas Dunn comes around to score ahead of the throw, and it's now 5-0. Second RBI of the game for Tyler Fitzgerald. He takes his season total up to 64. Just dumped that one out into left field.
There, 0-2 pitch, and he's able to get that bat on the ball right there. Hanging, breaking ball, not where you want it, 0-2. Packard tries to do a little deep job, and done too good on the base pass. And you heard Coach McDonald talk about playing fast, being aggressive. You got a 4-run lead that allows you to play faster.
Cliff Godwin is headed to the mound, and he is bringing a glove with him, and that means that Ryder Giles, the third baseman, is going to slide over, move to the pitcher's mound, and I think Thomas Francisco is going to come in and play third base. With a break in the action, we will take one as well. 5-0. Louisville leading it over East Carolina. You're watching the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Game 1 of a 3-game series in Louisville, Kentucky, Jim Patterson Stadium. Third pitcher of the game for ECU as Ryder Giles, the freshman from North Carolina, right-hander, comes into the game. He's got that kind of funky delivery, funky arm slot.
Yeah, the sidearm are coming from underneath. It's not it's more the submariner type. A lot of movement on the fastball, 78 to 81. A lot of times those guys from down there, they call a frisbee slider. Stays on the same plane. Looks like, you know, it doesn't have much up and down break to it. It's more side to side break.
East Carolina is now without the DH as Thomas Frisco comes into the game at third base in place of Ryder Giles. Pitch strike to Alex Benellis. Little frisbee action from Giles. Alex Benellis hitting for the year .306, but in the last 28 games, so basically the last 6 weeks or so of the season, he's gotten it all the way up to .367. Hits one to deep center field. Both runners going to try to tag. Runner throw comes to third, not in time. And that's a miscue. You throw that ball to second base, you keep running. You get runners at the corners, but because you throw it to third, base runners read it and both guys tag up.
Absolutely. You bring in Ryder Giles as a submarine guy with a lot of movement to get ground balls. Benellis does a nice job of getting the fastball up to get the runner over, but still, if you're out there in center field, Worrell, you throw that ball to second base, there's no way Fitzgerald takes second base, and you keep the double play in order. Now you have second and third with one out, and you got to bring the infield in.
And that's exactly what East Carolina does to try and cut down the run at the plate. You bring the infield in, and you lose that double play opportunity.
Yeah, definite miscue out there by Worrell. Especially that ball was so deep, too. I mean, you're looking at that ball was probably 10 feet off the track. You had to hustle to get back. He did a nice job of staying behind it, but that would have allowed him to have a really strong throw to second base and been able to keep that guy. That double play in order would be huge.
Calling a strike to Jake Snyder.
So now you're looking, this might not be a bad position to be for Giles to, make him hit your pitch and be at a situation where I'm not going to give in the zone because you do have that bag open at first base to set up another double play.
Jake Snyder has one home run in this season. He hit it last weekend. He gets out in front of this one and drives it into the right field corner. And 2 more runs will come around to score for the Louisville Cardinals. A 2-run double for Snyder. It's 7-0 Louisville. Hit it like that. Doesn't matter where the infield's placed.
That's right. I'm pretty sure he's scoring from first, no matter on that one, too. But these Louisville hitters are doing a great job of getting that ball up. When a side armor comes in, you got to be able to get the guy up in the zone, and that's what Snyder does. You talk about postseason, the moment gets bigger, he shines brighter. And now you're in a position now where every move you start to make starts to affect the next game. So your pitching staff, who you're going to leave in. The bigger the lead goes, it allows Louisville to bring in a guy that might not pitch in high leverage situations, saving their bullpen even more.
Reed Detmers might say, I got no idea what you're talking about, Lance. I'm going to hang around for a while.
Well, you better start making some early pitch outs, just hang around a little bit longer.
Detmers for Louisville has thrown 80 pitches through 5 innings. Snyder out at second base with Danny Oriente at the plate. He's got the biggest hit of the ball game. And Oriente takes a strike. May not look like it now because you see that 7 spot on the board, but it was a 1-0 game when Oriente drove one on the ground down the right field line just inside the first base bag, scored 3 and really opened the game up. Runs inside and nearly hit Oriente.
And all that happened in that one inning. It just seemed like everything was going right for Louisville. I mean, you're hitting balls in the gap, pulling balls in the hole, and all of a sudden you stick the bat out. Ball goes inside first base bag for a bases clearing double.
This ball lifted to left. Another base hit. Oriente. Throw comes toward the plate, and they slam on the brakes. Jake Snyder able to dive back into third. Packard gets to that ball quickly. Snyder was on second. He made a big aggressive turn. They put the brakes on and whoop, got to scramble back. It's got to be a helpless feeling.
Oh, that's Coach Eric Snyder, because you're going until he throws up the stop sign, and so he's kind of backpedaling, trying to feel that throw out. And man, yeah, when you throw those arms, when that coach throws those arms up, and you've got to lock them up, man, that is tough.
Turf, and it's raining a little bit,
a little slippery,
but probably saved an out as Brant Packard got to that ball quickly. Cliff Godwin back to the mound once again, and perhaps another pitching change here for the Pirates. Back to a new pitcher coming into the game for ECU. Garrett Saylor will be the 4th pitcher of the game. We'll take a break as well. 7-0 Cards in front.
Started a week from tomorrow, Saturday, June 15th. Omaha, Nebraska, where everybody's trying to get. Only 16 teams still alive can potentially get there this year. Garrett Saylor into the game, 4th pitcher used. Freshman from Louisville, North Carolina. Just his 9th appearance of the year. And Lance, it's like you feel like you got to tiptoe around this conversation because it's not quitting. That's not what you're doing. But Saylor's a guy that's only thrown 8 times this season, and the bottom line is you got to win 2 games to get to the College World Series. And you look at the scoreboard, you're down 7-0. This one's not likely.
Well, I mean, he did pitch 2 really good games against Quinnipiac and Campbell in the regional. So it's a guy that, you know, they started to see about could they trust him. The fastball can run up there 91 with a good curveball. But you're right. You're trying to just stop the bleeding and be able to continue to have good at-bats. That way you can take that in there. I mean, obviously, you're never going to quit a game. But 7 runs when you're facing one of the better bullpens in the country is going to be tough to go. And then, like I keep taking Detmers out of the game, right? He's still in the game. You mentioned he'll want to go out there and finish the game. But it's going to be a tough task. So you've got to be able to get outs and get outs quick and save guys.
When you look ahead to the next game and potential 2 games, it seems like most likely Alec Burleson will be the starter in game 2. They've got Jake Kuchmaner, East Carolina does, who has a perfect game this year. Ground ball to second, chance for 2, to short for 1, to first, not in time, and a run comes home to score. Snyder comes home to score on the play. Oriento is forced out, and Campbell reaches on a fielder's choice.
It was a nice pitch by Saylor, and that's the reason Ryder Giles was brought in. You know, you're thinking a submarine guy going to get ground balls, but Louisville, you know, he made him get up in the zone. 3 straight hitters, balls were in the air, and so that's not what you need to see from the side winder, and that's why bringing in Saylor, getting a ground ball, but just not able to turn it. Extending that lead to 8-0.
By the way, ECU's moved people all over the place. Giles has gone from the mound back to third base. Thomas Francisco, who came in to play third, is now at first base. Spencer Brickhouse, who was at first base, is now in left field. And Brian Packard, who was in left field, is now in center field. There will be a quiz coming up in 2 innings.
So basically, Saylor came in for Worrell.
That's right. Worrell comes out of the game.
Because you're going to start seeing double switches, because when Giles came in and Francisco went to third base, they pulled the DH, so now you're losing the DH, which you don't see very often in college baseball. So now you're going to start seeing some National League rules where Coach Godwin's going to, you know, usually it's the last hitter or the second to last hitter that got out that they're going to switch for.
Unless you want to let your pitcher swing the bat.
Right, but you're probably not going to do that.
Got some 2-way guys, but I'm not sure that you're going to see them on the mound today.
How about this? Louisville 40-2 this year when they score 5 or more runs.
Ball gets away over at first base. Francisco couldn't handle the throw from Saylor. Drew Campbell will go first to third as that ball goes all the way down close to the right field corner.
Almost looks like Thomas Francisco gets shielded when the pickoff comes in, when they hit, almost like they hit each other. When that happens, a nice job right there.
Between the legs of Campbell.
Yeah, and then Campbell, he knows, look at that. He's looking at that coach first to third. Coach Snyder's bringing him on. As that throw goes across the bag, when keep saying breakout. Francisco has to go get it. It's almost like a nice job by Campbell to come inside the bag, creating that collision.
And also a 3-0 count to Henry Davis, who is 0 for 2 with a ground out and a pop out. Four-pitch walk to Henry Davis. It's really amazing how this game has turned in the last 2 innings. Jake Agnos, the starter, retired 10 in a row to start the game. Including the first out in the 4th. And then he gave up back-to-back doubles, walked Manelis, gave up a single to Snyder, and then the 3-run double. Agnos got out of the 4th inning, but did not come back in the game. And Garrett Saylor is the 3rd pitcher used for East Carolina here in the 5th inning.
The moment he pulled Agnos in after the 4th inning, my first thoughts went, okay, he's coming back on Sunday, because the pitch count was still lower, you know, or giving him a chance to come back on Sunday. That was my thought. Okay. And so, you know, hey, can Burleson, if he's the guy tomorrow, can he kind of give you that chance to be able to play the 3rd game on Sunday? And if so, then, you know, we're already down 4-0. Detmers looks like he's settling in. Are we going to get those runs?
And Lance, you have to manage a game in a super regional differently than any other time of the entire season. Because this weekend it's only about one thing. It's only about winning 2 games. And it doesn't matter if it's game 1 and 2, game 1 and 3, games 2 and 3. And so that's why I hesitated to use the word quit. I mean, it's like almost waving a white flag saying, oh, okay, we're not going to win this one. The odds are we're not going to win this game. And that's okay, because you've only got to win 2. So what gives us the best chance to win 2 for the rest of the weekend?
Right, and I think that's what that did. And because, I mean, that was such a quick trigger, because, I mean, a guy like that has a bad inning, and he could have come back out and thrown 3 straight shutout innings, especially because I'm telling you, the pitch count was lower for him.
He threw 68 pitches.
So if he comes out and throws 3 straight shutout innings in a matter of 40 pitches, he's through 7 at 100 pitches. And he saves some guys in the bullpen. Well, now, I think that was my thought process. Maybe they're saving him for a relief appearance on Sunday, not to start, but maybe a 1 or 2 inning appearance on Sunday to maybe close out the game if there is a chance. But it seemed like that inning happened so quick. It was like everything they did in a matter of about 6 hitters was like it all worked perfectly for Louisville. The pitches that he had been making weren't making. The swing, they were chasing out of the zone. They stopped doing that. All those things started happening at once, and we looked up and it was 5-0.
Chopper left side, that scoots past the shortstop Brown into left field. Another run comes home to score. It's now 9-0. Justin Levy with the RBI single to score Drew Campbell.
Now it comes to the point where Reed Detmers has been sitting. He's set through this whole inning. We've got 5 runs this inning, a couple different pitching changes. I've already seen him go on the right field line and stay loose one time. He might want to think about going out there again.
And now back to the top of the order, Lucas Dunn. He's batting for the 4th time in the game here in the bottom of the 5th. 9 hitters to the plate for Louisville in the 4th inning. Dunn is the 10th hitter to come to the plate here in the 5th. Hey, you're a no Twitter guy, right? You're not on Twitter?
No Twitter.
We got messages coming your way on Twitter. Since you're not
coming your way.
Well, coming my way, but passing Blue Moon Cafe.
That's right.
Is the cafe in Fells Point in Maryland that has the
I knew it had something to do with
Crunch
Moon.
French toast.
I knew it had something to do with Moon, but I didn't want to make up something. But yeah, you better be ready to wait.
Sounds like it's worth the wait.
Once it got on the Food Network, it was like you go there and it's an hour and there's nowhere to wait but sitting outside. So you sit outside on some benches and just kind of walk around.
Kind of tough to wait for breakfast. You find a hot dinner spot, okay, it's you can hang out for a little while. Wait for breakfast. Ball and 2 strikes to Lucas Dunn. Saylor trying to end the inning and stop the bleeding. 4 runs in the 4th, 5 in the 5th. All deep in the hole and no play for Brown. Once again, he was kind of pulled up the middle. That time he's able to get to the ball, and it probably saves a run. No chance to get an out.
Basically a snapshot of how ECU feels right there. You get the ground ball, you make the play, but there's nowhere to go. And that's just how this game is going.
So now you've got a 2nd-round draft pick at the plate in Logan Wyatt with the bases loaded. He is 1 for 4 on the year, batting with the bases loaded. And that's called strike 1.
Got a little cross up. Catcher Jake Washer going out there talking to Garrett Saylor. Looked like he wanted a breaking ball, and fastball came right in. That's the toughest one. You think breaking ball's coming, you're expecting a break, and all of a sudden it hits you in the chest.
When Louisville scores 5 or more runs in a super regional game, they are 8-0 all time.
.42 on the year, 8-0 in super regionals. That would be a sign I would put on the right as I'm walking into the dugout. Let's score 5 today, boys.
A lot of data points pointing in a positive direction for Louisville, including bases loaded with this guy at the plate. And Logan Wyatt is now ahead in the count. He scored a couple of runs. He's got a double. Davis at 3rd, Levy at 2nd, Dunn at 1st. 3-1.
This is a dangerous pitch. 3-1, bases loaded. Like I said, a guy, you're already up 9. You're about to see a really hard swing. You get a fastball in the zone right here. Wyatt's going to come out of his shoes.
He hits it on the ground to 2nd. Lloyd over to Francisco. They were shifted in that direction. And that ends the inning. 3 left on base, but Louisville scores 5 more and leads 9-0. Coming up a little bit later this afternoon, a little less than an hour from right now, number 9 national seed Oklahoma State in Lubbock to take on Texas Tech. Tonight you got Duke at Vanderbilt, and then Michigan at UCLA. Josh Young, you'll see him next. He is a star for Texas Tech. 3-time All-Big 12, 2019 Co-Player of the Year in that league, and the 8th overall pick, and he gets to stay home. One of the Texas Rangers.
Talking to a guy, career .347. All he's done is hit since he rolled into Lubbock. .306. How about last year? .392 as a sophomore. So I'm probably going to have a little down year. And when you say down year, we're talking .340. So he's been getting it done. But last year was, oh man, one of those record type years. 80 RBIs, 12 home runs, 17 doubles, over 100 hits. That was an offense that could score some runs.
Yeah, but look at his walk numbers this year. Up to 51 walks this season with still 11 bombs. Wow.
And can play some third base too.
After a little over half an hour on the bench, Reed Detmer's back at it, and he's ahead 1-2 to Jake Washer. Washer 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout. Washer, fly ball to right. Campbell, 1 down. You look at the other 7 sites. Which matchup is the one that really grabs your attention this weekend?
I really think that when you're talking about name games, you got Florida State, or they always say it's a helmet game. You got Florida State going to LSU. I mean, just think of the storylines. Those 2 programs historically in Omaha playing in the College World Series, and now you have Mike Martin trying to make it there his last season. And then you got this, to me, the Stanford-Mississippi State game series. That's going to be a really nice one, too.
Both of those Super Regionals get started tomorrow. Florida State, LSU, 3 Eastern on ESPN. Stanford, Mississippi State's 3 Eastern on ESPN2. Mike Martin, 40th and final season as the head coach at Florida State. Florida State sitting on 39 wins this year. Reed Detmers dealing with Spencer Brickhouse is 0-2. Up and out of the zone. So 39 wins. They need 1 win in Baton Rouge. Obviously looking for 2 wins to get to the College World Series. 1 win in Baton Rouge. 40 consecutive years of 40-win seasons for Mike Martin at Florida State.
Like those are things that you'd have to like repeat it 3 or 4 times to believe that. I mean, that is crazy numbers.
It's just off the plate there to Brickhouse, and
I can promise you, Alex Box and those LSU fans aren't going to make it easy on them. That's 2 really good atmospheres. Stanford's going to have to roll into the new Duty Noble Field.
You know, you're looking at big crowds in Baton Rouge, big crowds in Starkville, big crowds in Fayetteville this weekend where Ole Miss and Arkansas meet. I thought UCLA had really nice crowds for their games over the weekend in Los Angeles at Jackie Robinson Stadium. Heard John Savage visiting with Roxy Bernstein during this was the Saturday night game where LMU beat UCLA. And he said, look, we may not have the biggest crowds in the country. He said, but we've got 2,500, 3,000 folks here and as good an atmosphere as you'll find.
But a lot of times it's not about the crowd. I mean, obviously there's noise in numbers, but you got to have intelligent baseball fans. And if you can have that, the numbers can be lower just because they know when to cheer and when not to.
This ball lined foul. Out of play on the left side by Brickhouse. Battled from 0-2 to a full count.
This will be his 92nd pitch of the day.
Fouled back. Yeah, you start singling out regionals and you kind of look at our super regional sites. Lubbock will be rocking. You were there last year for a super regional. That's turned into a pretty special environment.
It really was. Duke gave them a run. They played all 3 games there, but that's another conference versus conference. So you got a Big 12 foe coming in.
They'll have it packed in West End tonight for Duke and Nashville. Brickhouse gets out in front of this one. He hits it a long way out of the ball yard. Spencer Brickhouse, 14th home run of the year into the wind, and East Carolina is finally on the board.
For Coach Godwin, that's what you want to see. You want to see guys still being competitive, still going up there having great at-bats, and you're talking 9-pitch at-bat, finally gets the fastball in. I love how he kept the hands in right there. That's one of the short, quick swing. That's one of those. That's the only place really you could have gotten out of the ballpark. Pulled that ball down the line.
So Brickhouse with the home run. East Carolina on the board, 4th hit of the game. And here's Brady Lloyd, 0 for 2. Takes a strike.
You know, that's the biggest thing that the East Carolina hitters have to do is continue to have the same approach. Don't give up at bats. You start giving up at bats right now in this kind of game, that can bleed into tomorrow, and all of a sudden you can't find your approach that you had.
Check out Brady Lloyd's haircut. You see, I mean, this is a mullet of epic proportions, and he's been growing it for the better part of 2 years. Started growing the mullet in 2017. And he lines it into left. A base hit for Brady Lloyd. A knock for the mullet man, whose teammates call him Larry. His name is Brady. He got to the ballpark the very first day he was at East Carolina. His teammates said he looked like a Larry. And so they started calling him Larry, and it stuck. And so now it's Larry Lloyd, the mullet man.
I like that. Larry Lloyd, that's a good ring.
I don't know how mom and dad feel about Brady being just kind of thrown to the wayside, but hey, you look like a Larry. What's up, Larry?
But it's true, though. Don't you meet guys that, like, they just have that, like, man, you look like a Ryan, you know, or something like that?
A one-out single for Brady Larry Lloyd. Thomas Francisco at the plate. For ECU, Francisco, the DH slash third baseman slash first baseman. 1 for 2 in the game, ground out and a single.
This is about to be the 99th pitch. Detmer still got a little velocity left. Fastball coming in at 90. Dropped a little, but still showing some life.
Pitch is next. Count evens at 2-2 to Francisco. So if I decide you don't really look like Lance, can I just come up with another name? And
yeah, I have to agree to it though. But so come up with something.
Fred, how are you?
Not a Fred guy.
Fred,
sorry for Freds out there. Just doesn't doesn't go with the last one.
Hands. Pretty good at bats off of Detmer's. Brickhouse was behind 0-2, worked it to full, fouled off a couple of pitches, ended up with what, a 9-10 pitch at bat before he hits the solo home run. Lloyd singles to left, and now you've got Francisco
with a 9-1 game, going over 100. It's been a tough 100 pitches. You know, we're not even through 6 yet. He wouldn't be willing to bet that Louisville will get some guys up.
Pop to left. Snyder moving over toward the line. Long run. Wind blows it foul. And that gives you an idea of just how much the wind is pushing the ball toward the left field line. Off the bat, that looked routine for Snyder.
And I think he thought it was, because he sat there. He was camped in there. Then all of a sudden he pulled the emergency cord and had to just start sprinting, and he didn't even get a change. It wasn't even close at the end of it.
Snyder was playing basically straight up left field. Kind of starts jogging and then picks up the pace a little bit, then slams on the gas but couldn't get there. This ball lifted down the right field line. Francisco out in front, hits that one down into the Louisville bullpen. They catch a little bit of a break on the wind when you pull it down the right field line. Cardinal Stadium, the football stadium just beyond the wall, may create a little bit of an opportunity there. Strike three call on the outside corner. Francisco goes away looking. Davis, pretty good job catching and holding there.
That's a nice job of just kind of finishing that at bat. He's sitting there just being a pesky little hitter, staying with it, making the pitch that you need to. Might have been able to stretch that zone a little bit, but
maybe.
Yeah, I think so. 9-1 game, got to swing the bat.
You can appreciate that, right? Being able to stretch it just a bit. Pinch hitter here for ECU, Lane Hoover, will bat in the place of Ryder Giles. And we'll see what ECU does defensively. ECU glad to have Lane Hoover back. He has been out the last 3 weeks with a broken clavicle. Got 7 screws in his clavicle to put those pieces back together. Sounds painful, doesn't it?
It really does. Yeah, he's a big part of that lineup. They need it back. So obviously you're looking for something right here for Coach Godwin, something positive for Hoover to be able to bring that into tomorrow's action.
Hoover, third best batting average on the team. He's hitting .341 on the year. So 2 out for ECU in the top of the 6th inning. Another pinch hitter waiting on deck. That's Seth Cadell, who's the backup catcher. All lined into center field, coming on, Dunn. He will get there and make the underhand catch. Down around the knees. Dunn got a good jump on it. Makes the grab. East Carolina on the board after the solo home run from Brickhouse. What a fun way to kick off the College World Series. A little Major League Baseball action at TD Ameritrade. 9-1 our score as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Louisville with 4 runs in the 4th, 5 runs in the 5th inning. Richard Cross, Lance Cormier with you from Jim Patterson Stadium here in Louisville. Another pitcher in the game, Evan Odom, is pitching for East Carolina. He is the 5th pitcher of the game used for the Pirates. Odom this season making his 11th appearance. He's 0-0 with a 4.5 ERA. Sophomore from Lumberton, North Carolina. Right-hander in, 11th appearance of the year. First pitch from Odom misses away. Seth Cadell is now catching in the game for ECU. Packard goes back to left. Lane Hoover is now in center field. Brickhouse goes back to first base. Francisco goes back to third base.
You want to talk about equipment guys, right? Carried extra bags of gloves. Brickhouse is going from first base mitt to left fielder's glove. Ryder Giles, third base mitt to his pitching glove.
Tyler Fitzgerald, ball and 2 strikes. A couple of big hits in the game for Tyler Fitzgerald and a leadoff single here in the 6th. RBI double in the 4th, RBI single in the 5th, leadoff single in the 6th for Tyler Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald, one of the guys drafted, 4th round pick of the San Francisco Giants. So we've got Major League Baseball at TD Ameritrade to kick off the College World Series, and you look up at the number of guys that are being drafted from college baseball. And Lance, also we've kind of started looking at this every year, the opening day rosters. At the beginning of the Major League Baseball season, you're now over 50% on a yearly basis of college guys who are on those opening day rosters, and it seems like that's a path that's becoming more and more popular, not just to play pro ball, but to get to the big leagues.
Well, to me, I really think of that is due to, you know, young guys all of a sudden, you know, basically hitting the real world maybe before they needed to. And when it comes to an 18-year-old, you know, ball player on the road, bus trips, not having, you know, mama there to cook for them, do the laundry, all those types of things, right, that I don't know, you know, especially I know going into college, I wasn't ready to be able to do that. You know, no matter what the draft, I was a 40th rounder out of high school, so there was no way I was going to go with that. But I mean, to be able to be ready when you're an 18-year-old trying to do that and have to go through that grind. That's tough to do.
See, 85 players from the SEC on this year's Big League opening day rosters. The ACC with 47, 45 from the Pac-12, Big West, 29 players from the Big West. A bunch of those from Long Beach State.
Right.
Big 12 with 20 players.
So now as you're a high school senior and you're looking at that, you're looking at those Power 5 numbers, I can go experience unbelievable atmospheres in college baseball. Some of the amenities nowadays at some of these programs are just as good, or if not better, than what you would experience in the big leagues. You're not going to experience that in the minor leagues, especially, you know, low A, high A, and double A. And so why not go spend 3 years there? You got a ball off his foot.
That hurts.
You're not going to spend 3 years in the, so instead of spending 3 years in the minor leagues in low A, high A, go play a nice Power 5 conference where the ball is pretty close. It might be high A to double A ball, and get to have the college atmosphere, make friends that you know, because you don't make the type of lifelong friends you do in pro ball like you do in college. So to me, that's why you're starting to see more 4-year college players making the big leagues and making careers.
Well, the level of coaching has gone up at the college level as well. Another pitch fouled away by Vanellis. Start looking around the country, though. You don't have many, I don't know if it's fair to say any, but you don't have many coaches who are willing to just take a pitcher and go, just run him out there, and he's going to go 130 pitches and 140 pitches. That's not happening much. You know, so you've got coaches and training staffs that are conscious of arm care, which helps on the pitching side, and you just got a lot of good coaches kind of across college baseball.
Well, I think the biggest thing that you're kind of looking at and kind of hitting toward is just development, you know, more or less player development, and they put a priority on that. And so that does come to taking care of the guys. The NCAA has, you know, less restrictions.
But Nellis gets into this one, into the right center field gap. It's a one-hopper off the top of the wall. Vanellis will cruise into third with a triple. Tyler Fitzgerald comes around to score, and it's now 10-1. That ball was crushed by the freshman Alex Vanellis.
Something where Vanellis is like, I want to get into the hit parade, and you're right, that ball was absolutely teed off on. And he wasn't satisfied with just a double. He shows the speed off, gets to third base. You have to go back to the player development side of things. You know, you can take care of players with different meals and grab and go types of things more than you used to could back in the day.
Pitch gets away. Another run comes home to score, and Louisville has a 10-run lead with nobody out in the bottom of the 6th. You can talk all you want to about when East Carolina's at the plate, having competitive at-bats, trying to come back into the game, but you got to get outs on the other side as well. This Louisville offense is locked in right now.
Yeah, it feels like the wheels have fallen off right there. Catcher Cadell doesn't do a good job of going down there to block the pitch.
Jake Snyder grounds out to second, first out of the inning.
Pitch hitting number 34, Zach Britton.
Danny Oriente has had a big day, but his day is over. Zach Britton will pinch hit for Oriente, who went 2 for 3 with that 3-run bases clearing double in the 4th.
Who knew how big that hit was going to be at the time? That blew the doors open, and they haven't looked back. But you want to go back and talk about the draft. You mentioned that Zach Fitzgerald, or Tyler Fitzgerald with the Giants. I mean, how about that, getting to play your college teammate Logan Wyatt was the Giants as well. 2nd and 4th rounders, both going to San Francisco from the Louisville Cardinal lineup.
It is kind of crazy when you think about some of the best college players in the country, whether they're juniors or seniors, they get drafted. They've been opponents, some cases rivals, in some cases they hadn't known each other and then they're popped into the same organization. You know, a month ago you were on a team that was a rival, and now you're playing with each other. This ball lined into right field, a base hit for Zach Britton coming off the bench. For more coverage of the Division I baseball tournament and interactive brackets, go to NCAA.com. So an example of that would be Jake Mangum, all-time hits leader in the SEC, and the #2 guy in hits all-time in the SEC now, Antoine Duplantis, both drafted by the Mets. So you take those two guys and stick them in the outfield together?
They're, to me, they're almost the same type of player. Maybe if they liked them that much, hey, here's almost a clone just like him.
This ball popped to right by Campbell, diving for it. Burleson can't get it, and then has trouble finding it. Britton goes first to third, and Drew Campbell gets into second base. Alec Burleson looked like he kind of got caught in between, not sure what he wanted to do.
Yeah, that low sinking line drive does a nice job of stopping that ball, though. When you dive like that, especially on a turf field, that ball, the right field guys have been playing shallow for both teams. So if he doesn't stop that ball and that goes all the way to the wall, man, who knows what would happen. Might be looking at inside the park home run.
Campbell with his 13th double of the year. One out in the 6th. Davis ahead in the count. Chops it to third. Francisco over to Brickhouse for the second out of the inning. Britton comes home to score. Campbell goes to third. And it's now 12-1. A lot of baseball to play. We still got 3 innings left in this game, so 3 more at bats for East Carolina. But it feels like you're kind of in the territory of, let's get back to the hotel, try to press the reset button.
Well, I was going to touch on that. That's the biggest thing, is you do get to press a reset button. You know, when it comes down to it, doesn't matter how bad you lose a game, it counts as one loss. And I know it can mess with the emotions and just the confidence level. But if you're able to move on, and that's what coaches preach, move on to the next game, be able to flush that and leave it there, leave it at the ball field, get to the hotel, do your routine, everything else that, come back the next day, and it is a new ball game. The sun's going to come up, or hopefully the sun comes up here, but you're going to be able to play another game. And that's the whole thing. You can't let this game affect anything you do tomorrow.
Lose game 12-1, turn around. You win one 12-1, you might win one 1-0.
I mean, that's usually what you see.
Somebody's going to win a third one to get to Omaha. Neither team has announced what they're going to do for a starting pitcher in game 2. If you were in a normal setting where both of these teams had not had to fight their way back through the loser bracket in regional play, you probably would have a little bit better idea. Normally it would be Nick Bennett throwing game 2 of a weekend series for Louisville, but he made 2 starts in the regional, and the second start came on just 2 days rest. Normal bullpen day for him. Threw less than 30 pitches. but it may be Bobby Miller that makes the start in game 2 for Louisville.
A guy who is a much different pitcher in Jim Patterson Stadium than he is on the road. He's a guy with unbelievable numbers at home, so it wouldn't be a bad guy to give the ball to.
This ball off the end of the bat. It's going to hang up, though, and the center fielder Hoover will come in to make the catch and end the inning. 12-1 as we go to the bottom or the top of the 7th. Twelve to 1, Louisville leading it over ECU. Reed Detmers has pretty much been in cruise control mode. He gave up 1 run in the top of the 6th inning. Maybe not the most dominating day ever on the mound for him, but Louisville's offense has been dominating.
Oriente, that was the double down the line inside the first base bag. Then Snyder with another double. What do we know? 12 runs later.
Jake Agnos, the starter for ECU, retired the first 10 that he faced in the game. 9 up, 9 down, and then the leadoff man in the 4th. But then in the 4th, it got away. Louisville scored 4 in the 4th, 5 in the 5th. They had 3 in the 6th inning. 12 runs and 15 hits for Louisville, and that's why they lead by 11. Seth Goodell now catching in the game for ECU. Batting in place of Bryson Worrell in the 9 hole.
No way you'd have told me after the first 10 hitters, Jake Agnos looked unbelievably dominant. I mean, he's talking blowing heaters by. They couldn't touch the breaking ball, and then the wheels absolutely fell off. And there's no way you would have said they scored 12 runs. They put up crooked numbers in 3 straight innings.
Bell pops it up down the right field line, and the first baseman Wyatt makes a nice play. Long run, fighting the wind a little bit. Makes the catch, 1 away.
That's 7 for 7 right there for Reed Detmers, retiring the leadoff guy, and this is why he has only given up 1 run. I mean, this is something he hasn't looked as sharp as he normally does. Pitched out of a little bit of trouble, and especially in the first inning, a couple of guys on. But when you get that leadoff guy on, it makes it so much harder to score, to create runs.
Pinch hitter for Bryant Packard. Packard went 1 for 3 today. Norby, in the mold of Bryant Packard, goes after the first pitch that he sees, flies it to right. Connor Norby, 1 pitch and 1 out. There are 2 down in the inning here in the 7th.
You know, going out of the 6th inning, I thought that would be Detmer's last inning, but he comes out here in the 7th, very economical, especially when you get guys swinging at first pitches like that, getting outs quick. Only sitting at 113.
Nick Barber now pinch hitting for Turner Brown.
It's a nice job by Coach Godwin getting other guys in. This is how you get other guys experience, and especially in the postseason, you know, because could be players you're looking forward to for next year. You might need to count on them next year. And now they can kind of look back and say, look, I got a little experience in the postseason. Never also know who might have to pinch hit for you tomorrow. ECU does a little numbering system. Coach Godwin doesn't give the like the old school signs where he's, you know, touching the hat, the chest, the rubbing the arms. They just have a numbering system that all their hitters have around their wrist.
All right, were you ever on the sign stealing crew?
I wasn't good at it. No. But
there's some guys that just have this unbelievable ability to steal signs, right?
We had a guy at Alabama named Jeremy Vaughn, was an aerospace engineer, and he, within like 3 innings, guys got him, and he'd run up there, and those guys would know. Man, it was unbelievable how those guys can do that. And he just had a little notebook. He'd write down what he sees, write down what it was, write down what he sees. But just to be able to see it like that, true talent.
Breaking ball stays up. It's one thing to get signs, but it's another thing altogether to be able to do anything with that.
To me, I think the hardest. Well, yeah, because you can know what's coming. You can think of batting practice. You know it's coming, and it's coming slower, and guys still get themselves out in batting practice. So it's definitely not going to be easy, but it is easier.
Campbell gets to the edge of the track, makes the catch. It's a 1-2-3 inning. Detmer's really good through 7. 3 o'clock Eastern first pitch for the Cowboys and the Red Raiders. Top of the lineup for Louisville, and Lucas Dunn spins out of the way of that one. Evan Odom back out in the 7th inning. ECU has used 5 pitchers in the game. It started Jake Agnes, went 4 innings. This ball lifted to center, and an easy play there for the first out. Hoover makes the grab. Other side of the bracket from ours. This is the left side of the bracket. UCLA, the #1 overall national seed, against Michigan. They play tonight. Also, we mentioned Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. Tomorrow in Fayetteville, Arkansas and Ole Miss. They've already met 5 times this year. LSU and Florida State get started tomorrow as well. Logan Wyatt, base hit, rolls one through the right side.
That's another super regional I forgot to mention, and you just mentioned they played each other already 5 times this year. So I mean, they know each other back and forwards. They know what to expect. Ole Miss has already gone there and won a series in Fayetteville. So I mean, one of the tougher places to play. So they have confidence rolling in. So does Arkansas. So that should be a good matchup as well.
We were in Oxford last weekend for the Oxford Regional, and the combination of swinging the bats and pitching. Ole Miss seemed to have the right formula last weekend.
Yeah, won 16-2, 6-1, and 19-4. I mean, the starting pitching was unbelievable. Will Etheridge set the tone. Doug Nikhazy came in and followed that up. But if they swing the bats, if the Rebels swing the bats like they did in the championship game, they are going to be a tough team to beat.
This ball lined up the middle. Fitzgerald with his 4th hit of the game. How about Tyler Fitzgerald, the shortstop for Louisville? Drafted in the 4th round by San Francisco, pick number 116 overall, 4 for 5 at the plate today.
Boy, right back up the box, hitting where it's pitched. Tough day to start off. Had a little punch out, then all of a sudden double, single, single, single. This is where you, as a coach, you're sitting there going, hey, we need to save some runs for tomorrow, right, boys? But I like their approach. I mean, same thing I talked about ECU, of staying in that approach where you don't give up in a bat. It's the same way. It can go both ways, you know, for Louisville when you're running to the bat rack because you want to get up there and hit.
When scoring double-digit runs this year, Louisville's 21-1. It's the 23rd game this year where they have scored in double figures. They're only lost 16-11 to Miami. Backdoor breaking ball just outside to Alex Pinellas. Pinellas 1 for 3 with a couple of runs scored. I think a second ago I said Hoover in center field. It's actually Brady Lloyd who's now playing in center field for ECU. So you got Norby at second base.
Now, Hoover was in center. He just moved to left.
Yeah, he's gone to left now. There's been a lot of movement defensively in this game for ECU. New right fielder for East Carolina's Chandler Jenkins. We've not seen him at the plate yet, but he goes in defensively to right. You got Barber at shortstop now in place of the starter Brown. Alex Pinellas, 3 balls, no strikes. Logan Wyatt at second, Tyler Fitzgerald at first. strike there. This ball hammered right side, base hit past Brickhouse. Ball goes all the way into the corner. Logan Wyatt comes around to score. RBI double for Alex Vanellis. Big day of college baseball as we get Super Regional started. Let's check into the studio with Chris Connor.
Okay, Richard Lance coming up next from Lubbock. We'll get a chance to see Josh Young, one of 5 first-round draft picks in this past week's Major League Baseball draft, 8th overall by the Texas Rangers. Texas Tech and Oklahoma State will start here on ESPN2 at 3:06. And if our game here between East Carolina and Louisville hasn't wrapped up yet, we'll move it over to the ESPN app, guys.
All right, Chris, thanks a lot. 13-1, Louisville in control in a big way, up 12. This is a Louisville team that is trying to get to the College World Series for the 5th time under Dan McDonald. New pitcher coming in for the Pirates. You're watching NCAA Super Regional Baseball presented by Capital One. Not much anxiety at the ballpark right now for the folks wearing red and black. Carter Spivey, 6th pitcher of the game for ECU, coming in, the freshman from Virginia, making his 7th appearance of the year. High ERA, 5 strikeouts, 4 walks, so limited appearances, 5 1/3 in relief this season. 13-1, Louisville. Absolutely dominant. Zeros in the first 3 innings of the game. Since then, 4 in the 4th, 5 in the 5th, 3 in the 6th. A run across here in the 7th. Still only 1 out. 2 runners in scoring position. Going back to 1999, when we moved to this format, Super Regional format, you had 115 teams that have scored 10 or more runs in a Super Regional game. You know what the record all time?
What you got?
111-3. This is actually the 115th. So the previous 114 games, if you score double-digit runs in a Super Regional game, you're winning. 111-3. Last time a team lost that scored double-digit runs, 2008. Arizona lost to Miami 14-10. The 13 scored today by Louisville, the 2nd most they've ever scored in a Super Regional game. The first is kind of an interesting story. Dan McDonald, we talked earlier about the fact that he was an assistant coach at Ole Miss before he got the Louisville job. In 2005, Ole Miss played Texas in a Super Regional, won game 1, and then lost the next 2. In 2006, they hosted Miami, won game 1, lost the next 2. Then he gets to Louisville, 2007. They win game 1, hosting Oklahoma State. Lose game 2, and he thinks, oh, it's going to happen for a 3rd year in a row. You've got to be kidding me. They come out and they beat Oklahoma State 20-2. Good pitching performance in addition to the offensive onslaught from the Cardinals today. Time to take a look at today's Capital One player of the game, Reed Detmers.
And that is a good one. 7 innings, 6 punch-outs, a little less than we thought, but it started off kind of shaky, but he finished up nice. 119 pitches. That's a job well done, Reed Detmers.
Jake Snyder got the sac fly, picked up. He is Reed Detmers.
And that is a good one. 7 innings, 6 punch-outs, a little less than we thought, but it started off kind of shaky, but he finished up nice. 119 pitches. That's a job well done, Reed Detmers.
Jake Snyder got the sac fly, picked up his 3rd RBI of the game. 2 down here in the 7th. And a pinch hitter at the plate for Louisville, Pat Romero. the senior, getting a little action here in a super regional game. Third different player who has hit in this DH spot today. Danny Oriente was 2 for 3. Zach Britton singled and scored as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning. And now Romero batting in the 7th. Behind in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Chopper on the infield, fielded by Barber, throws across, and that ends the inning. Romero grounds out 6-3.
The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? And in part by Nestle Pure Life. 100% pure quality water.
Sports Center, 6 Eastern tonight after PTI with Kevin in Bristol and Sage in Oakland. They'll preview Game 4 with the Warriors in a virtual must-win situation. Plus, how does Carson Wentz's new deal impact Dak Prescott's potential new contract? And the best comments from UFC 238's press conferences. Sports Center after PTI on ESPN and the ESPN app. Garrett Schmeltz, new pitcher coming into the game for Louisville. He is from right here in Louisville, Kentucky, making his 14th appearance of the year. Schmeltz went to Pleasure Ridge Park High School. 10 strikeouts, 4 walks. And Schmeltz is dealing with Chandler Jenkins, who came in and played right field and is batting in the space of Alec Burleson.
Schmeltz fastball 84 to 87, topping out at about 89 miles an hour. Change up, sliders his breaking ball.
It's fouled away. Ball and a strike to Chandler Jenkins. We'll send you back to Chris Cotter coming up in a couple of minutes, and then he will get you to Lubbock, Texas for Texas Tech and Oklahoma State Game 1. If you're watching with us here in Louisville, we want to finish out the end of this one. You will be able to watch on the ESPN app. We'll take you to the conclusion of this ball game. An East Carolina team that is making its 30th all-time postseason appearance. It's the most appearances in the postseason by any team in college baseball without a trip to the College World Series. And if they're going to get there this year, barring something crazy happening here in their final 6 outs, they're going to have to win back-to-back games against a really good Louisville team tomorrow and then on Sunday. Louisville playing in its, ECU playing in its 5th Super Regional all-time. Jenkins goes away looking. Right side of the bracket, Vanderbilt and Duke coming up tonight. Louisville about to go up 1-0 on East Carolina. Mississippi State, Stanford, North Carolina, Auburn both get started tomorrow. Games in Starkville and in Chapel Hill. College World Series a week from tomorrow begins June 15th on ESPN. Dusty Baker pinch hitting for Jake Washer.
He's already gotten player of the game, Reed Detmers, but how about that? 6 start this year, 7 innings, 7+ innings, and 1 earned run or less. 6 times this year.
Say it again. 6 starts for Reed Detmers. 7 or more innings with 1 or fewer runs allowed. Goodness.
It makes it a lot easier to hand the ball over, sit back in the dugout, and just watch the guy go out there and dominate.
2-0 to Baker. This ball's line foul down the right field line.
big reason. Part of his success today was getting that leadoff guy on, you know, keeping him off the base paths. Retired him in all 7 innings.
And in 5 of 7 innings, Reed Detmers was able to get 2 outs before a base runner got on base.
And this was going against a team that hits .423 for the leadoff, getting leadoff guys on. So I thought that was kind of the story for Detmers. If he was able to do that, he's going to have success, and he sure did.
2-2 pitch off the end of the bat. Slow roller right side, and Levy can't field it and make the play. We're going to finish up on the ESPN app. Let's send you right now to the studio and Chris Cotter. Spencer Brickhouse coming to the plate for East Carolina. 1 run on the board today for the Pirates, and it's because of this guy, Spencer Brickhouse, with a solo home run to right in the 6th inning. Maybe had that kind of do or die play. He was played back on the slow roller to the right side, trying to barehand it.
One of the first things that really went wrong for Louisville this game.
Cows off the end of the bat down the 3rd baseline.
Did you get the story behind the knee brace, Coach Godwin? It looked like that was real fun to get out of the way of.
Yeah, I saw him earlier in the season, and I asked him about it, and he had 0 interest in talking about it. I think it was an inconvenience. And he's not talking about it. Just kind of plug it on about his business. Cows gets a piece of that breaking ball to stay alive. How about the offensive number? You look at Louisville this year as a team. They don't blow you away with what they do offensively. Hitting, what, 298. So, excuse me, 291. A good offensive team. Not like a scary offensive team. 14 runs on 18 hits.
I mean, all of it started with one of the better pitchers they're going to see all year.
Knocked Agnos out of the game after 4. And this might look a little bit different as Brickhouse off the end of the bat sends one through the right side of the infield. Game might look a little bit different if ECU had not chosen to pull Agnos at that point. But it was 4-0 after 4, and Cliff Godwin elected not to bring him back in the game. He had only thrown 68 pitches. But I think look at what you're dealing with Reed Detmers.
I think both of those, when it comes to the way Agnos looked in that last inning, who you were battling against in Reed Detmers looked like he started to find that rhythm, and knowing, hey, well, the chances we come back from that, knowing their bullpen is really strong, and we could possibly have Jake Agnos back again on Sunday if there's an if necessary game.
Chance for 2. Fitzgerald steps on the bag, throws over to first, and that ends the inning. East Carolina strands a runner. We go to the bottom of the 8th, 14-1. This year, this game has gotten weird. I mean, it's obviously completely out of hand from a scoring standpoint, but it goes from feeling like this super high-level ace versus ace pitching matchup for 3 innings, and then the wheels go off in the 4th inning, and it's felt more like a mid-March Tuesday night game than a super regional game for the last 2 hours.
Absolutely nailed that right there, Richard. You're right. We entered this game going, we have 2 of the best left-handers in college baseball. Strikeout numbers, both those guys in the top 6 in the country.
And it looked like that.
Yeah.
Not just on paper. The game started that way.
That's what I'm saying. The feel of Jake Agnos, 10 straight guys, retires like, all right, this could be a 1-2-0 ball game, and all of a sudden we're out here at 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Ethan Stringer pops it up right side, 1 away. in the 8th for Louisville. Henry Davis stays in the game. We see a different catcher tomorrow for Louisville. Both Henry Davis and Zeke Pinkham have played a lot. And it hasn't necessarily been a right-handed pitcher, left-handed pitcher thing. They've just kind of split the duties with a freshman and a senior. 2 quick outs in the 8th. 2 down. So Louisville is 3 defensive outs away from putting themselves 1 win short of the 5th College World Series in school history. 4 previous, all under Dan McDonnell. 2007 in year 1 with the program. Back-to-back years, 2013 and 14, and then again in 2017. Cardinals playing their 8th Super Regional, ECU in its 5th. But East Carolina has never won a Super Regional. In fact, they've got only 1 win all time in Super Regional play. They've lost 8 of the 9, and it will be 9 of 10. Justin Levy, or excuse me, Cameron Masterman, a pinch hitter for Levy. You look at these 2 teams side by side. Louisville kind of newer to the postseason success, all since Dan McDonnell has been here. 12 of the 13 NCAA appearances have been with Dan McDonnell as the head coach. And you heard Coach McDonnell earlier when we were talking with him say that he appreciated the kind of the hat tip for the job that he's done, but he immediately pointed to the commitment that Louisville as an institution, from an administration standpoint, had made to baseball. They made a commitment to him. They made a commitment to facilities. They have made a commitment to assistant coaches. Been incredible stability with the assistant coaches on McDonnell's staff.
Oh, a lot of deflection in his voice. I mean, he didn't want to take any credit. Comes down, like you said, the players make them look good, but you're right. I think it starts from the top. And that's what it takes to become one of these top-tier programs. Is if other teams are going to commit to it, you better start committing to it if you want to compete. I mean, that's unbelievable. Only 1 appearance before he had gotten here.
Check swing, strike 3. A 1-2-3 inning for Connor Norby on the mound for ECU. Louisville 3 outs away from a win. 51, 50, and 53 in the 3 subsequent trips to the College World Series. Louisville right now sitting on 48 wins on the year. They hold on here. Great shot to get to the College World Series. Since we have moved to this super regional format, 1999, see, overwhelmingly, you win game 1, you get to Omaha. Louisville fans have had plenty to cheer about today. Schmeltz back out for his 2nd inning of work. Gave up a couple of hits. We got a double play to end it in the 8th. Christian Jane getting an opportunity here. Jane hits a chopper to the right side, fielded by Dunn, who moves from center field into second base. And there's 1 away. Garrett Schmeltz. And McDonnell wanted him just to come into the game and throw some strikes and get some outs and get them to the house.
That's what he's done. He's kept the ball on the ground. Defense making some plays for him. But that's what you want to see when you're up 14 or 13 runs. You want to see a guy come in there and just challenge hitters.
Wayne Hoover batting for the 2nd time in this game. Flew out to center his first time up. That was back in the 6th. In NCAA tournament history for Louisville, this is the 4th most runs they've ever scored in a game. 20 wins against 2007 in Oklahoma State in a super regional. 2007 against Missouri, they scored 16. 2016 regionals against Ohio State scored 15. 14 runs on the board today for the Louisville Cardinals. Ball and 2 strikes down to Lane Hoover. We are nearing the end of game 1. We'll be back with you tomorrow for game 2. Strikeout. Second strikeout for Schmeltz since entering. There are 2 down. Tomorrow's game 2 of this super regional coming your way on ESPNU, 3 Eastern. As Louisville will be trying to be the first team to punch their ticket to the College World Series in Omaha. Seth Caddell 0 for 1. He popped out his first time up. Ball and a strike to Seth Caddell. Louisville about to pick up its 467th win this decade. Louisville fans hoping that they are not done. Cardinal fans that are still here. A little breezy, a little bit of a light rain throughout the ball game, but the ones that are still here on their feet. 2 strikes and a couple of outs. Top of the 9th inning. Schmeltz dealing with Caddell. Swing and a miss. A strikeout to end the ball game, and Louisville goes up 1-0 in the Super Regional here at home. They are now 1 win away from the College World Series.
A nice job by the offense. The Cardinals got to Jake Agnos after really looking like he was going to be dominant. Put together some great at-bats. Got 6 straight guys on. That first crooked number was huge, and it gave them the momentum, and they never stopped there, never looked back.
Take a look at the bracket as everything points toward Omaha at this point. Louisville now a win away. Winner of this Super Regional will meet Vanderbilt or Duke in Omaha. That series gets started tonight at 6 Eastern on ESPN2. Right now on ESPN2, you've got